Was included.
When you want points that can take you anywhere,
Hilton Honors, babe.
It matters where you stay. Hilton for the stay.
I still can't see it.
What's up, Chuck?
So I heard the Star Talk was on Pluto, so I'm looking for it.
Well, first of all, that's the moon.
Oh.
Second, it's that Star Talk landed on Pluto TV on Earth.
Wait, Star Talk has a channel on Pluto TV?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's even better than the planet.
No, Pluto is still not a planet.
Says you. Star Talk TV with Neil deGrasse Tyson only on Pluto TV.
Still not a planet.
For me to be able to say that, I became a world champion, that's something that you remember forever.
What a conversion. Maybe the biggest of the season. That's a Super Bowl record.
Did he make the catch? He did!
Had his biggest games against the best players on the biggest stage.
Behind. The turbocharged Volkswagen Atlas. Visit your local Volkswagen dealer for 4.9% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2024 Atlas or Atlas Cross Sport.
You're right. Came in too hot.
Told you I was right.
Should we call a tow truck?
A tow truck? Man, you built like a tow truck. Just go get it.
Yeah. Hold my oikos.
Those are show muscles.
I'll show you muscle.
Buy me new pants, show muscle. Take your oikos, little man.
Protein packed to help build strong muscles.
You crazy.
I'd do anything.
Hill's Science Diet Puppy Food has the nutrients your pup needs. And now at PetSmart, get 4,000 treats points when you spend $50 or more on Hill's Science Diet. PetSmart, anything for pets.
We have something the enemy does not. We have heroes.
It is my favorite sports gambling show, and it's called Lean Like Love, and we brought it on the road to the Super Bowl. The rules are simple. Brian McFadden, Pete Prisco will give us their confidence picks, and there's 3 categories: lean, like, and love. Love is like hammer it, lock it in, best bet type stuff. Now, typically, we do 3 games every NFL Sunday, but we only have 1 left. So we're going to dissect 3 different ways to talk about San Francisco and Kansas City. Time now to play Lean Like Love with BMAC and Double P here. So as we take a look at the selections that we have, the first thing we have to do is talk about the side, which opened up 2.5, got down to 1.5, back to 2.5, back down to 1.5. So BMAC, I'll start with you because we played this in Kansas City. It was your first indoctrination to the game. You did.
I hit on all of
3 for 3.
3 for 3.
So no pressure.
I'm 100% right now, Pete. The pressure's on. No pressure at all.
You love Kansas City in this game.
I love Kansas City so much. This is the ultimate lock for me, getting a 1.5. And what I did was I sprinkled everything on the money line. I don't even want the point, but for this segment, I'm taking the 1.5. I love it, and here's why. When you talk about Super Bowl betting trends, right, the better team is 1 in 15 ATS in Super Bowl appearances. Andy Reid with an extra week of rest, extra week of prep. He is 31-7 straight up. Pat Mahomes individually as an underdog, 10 1-1 ATS. These individuals that will be wearing a Chiefs uniform, betting trend-wise, they have found ways to cover the spread in these type of situations. Being an underdog, having extra time to prepare, and of course with the quarterback play. So that's why I'm so hyped, and I'll lock this in instantly. I love it. Give me Kansas City getting a 1.5. But as I stated, I took the money line, Pete.
In 2 appearances, you've had more loves than Brady Quinn and Todd Furman have had all year.
Probably combined. It's pretty close.
It's incredible.
It's close.
I like the Kansas City Chiefs. I think when you look at what the Chiefs will do here, I think they're going to run the football. I think this is going to take advantage of a bad defense, because this defense has been awful against the run. And we always say, BMAC, defense wins championships.
Yep.
And you look at the Chiefs, they played great defense. The 49ers have played bad defense, and I'm astounded by that. I mean, you look at the man-to-man across the board, they should be a much better defense than what they are, particularly being physical. They've been out-physical at the line of scrimmage. I think they run the ball. Kansas City controls the clock, and I think the Chiefs win. I like the Chiefs.
Okay, so for Pete, it's a thumbs up alike. For BMAC, it's hard with these mics, though. He's got the love, the love emoji going on right now.
Lock it in.
All right, lock it in. Hammer it down. If we now get to the total, it's stayed pretty steady at 47.5 here. So in terms of the under, Pete, you got to love in terms of how you like this game to be played?
I do. And just like I mentioned before, I think both teams will run the ball, and that'll shorten the game. The possessions will be down. I think they're going to be limited. I think you're going to see a lot of time-consuming drives. I think, Pacheco's going to have a big day. I think McCaffrey's going to have a big day. You're not going to see gaudy passing statistics. And for that reason, I love the under. I think this is going to be one of those games where you look up, and at the end, it's like 20-17. Maybe Mahomes goes and gets a touchdown, but I do think it's going to be an under. I love the under in this game.
I don't love the under, but I like the under.
You're close, though.
Are
you close?
Yeah,
Okay.
And I'm in favor with Pete. I do believe, when you talk about running the football, the team that outrushes the other probably will win this ball game. And you need to find a way to establish the ground and pound attack. My only concern and why I don't love this is why is the number so high? When you follow the betting trend defensively with the Chiefs, the second half under is 18-2. They have locked down opposing offenses in the second half. And their offense, they don't score a lot of points in the second half. Heck, they haven't scored a lot of points in some ball games in 4 quarters. So why is the line set at 46.5 based on what we've seen from either side, especially the Kansas City Chiefs? But I do believe Steve Spagnuolo, based on his adjustments in the second half, they've been so important and so impactful. He will have a game plan in place to kind of help both of us hit the right button on this prop with the love and the like.
Okay, so far you guys have both loved something and liked something. And then lastly here, I mentioned typically we pick 3 games, but we don't have 3 games to choose from. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you contestant's choice for the last one, which is your favorite player prop. BMAC, where are you going? What do you like?
Plus 145. That's the odds with my player prop. Rashee Rice, anytime touchdown. He hasn't gotten into the end zone since week 1 of the playoffs, round 1 against the Miami Dolphins. But if you look at his emergence towards the latter part of the season, he showed up to be the wide receiver 1 for their offense. And the thing that I love about Rashee Rice, the way they implement him in the game plan in the red zone, it's not about catching passes. They love getting the ball with shovel passes in his hands and things like that. I could easily see Rashee Rice get into the end zone at some point in time in this Super Bowl, and you're getting real good odds, plus 145 as I mentioned.
By the way, he did get into the end zone in the championship game. It was called back on a terrible holding penalty, remember?
Yep.
My prop is Isaiah Pacheco over 66.5 rushing yards. I think he's going to get near 90. I think this is going to be one of those games, maybe even 100. I think he's going to pound the football. If Andy Reid is smart, and I know in his history there's been people who've criticized him for not running the ball enough, this is going to be a game where he's smart enough to run the ball right at that defense. And if you run at them, you're going to have success. The strength of your offensive line is the physical power of the middle of the line. They will push them around. They will run the ball. Pacheco has a big day. He's going over 66.5.
Okay. Because you're leaving us, Pete Prisco, we got to take your best bets into account before you and BMAC say goodbye. And we do have receipts on how Pete Prisco, Brady Quinn, myself, and Todd Furman have done it. And Pete, who's the one leading at 13-8, by the way?
Well, you didn't pick the first 2 weeks, so they just gave you credit. So, yeah, I mean, I like to go to that class sometime, too, where you don't even show up.
Or you have our producer, Jack, giving me extra
games. He did. He gave you extra credit.
Me 1 extra game.
By the way,
1 week.
You see that record? You see my record lately, 9-11-1. I've been on a heater.
Yeah, you were down to like 5-11 at some point here.
You're really on fire right now,
am.
right? What you got?
My best bet?
Yeah.
It's the under.
Okay, it's going to be under. Yep, gave it out as love. Now, what I need you guys to do before we wrap things up, grade my best bet. So give me a lean, like, or love to my teaser.
But Tommy teaser. We got to get the Tommy teaser going. He always has a teaser every Sunday.
We're going to go 6-point teaser. We're going to go Kansas City up to now 7.5.
Like it.
And I like the under 2, so you get a little bit of protection. 53 and a hook.
Love
we're going to feel good? Yeah?
Love it.
B-Mac, what do you think? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love
Double
it,
love
Tommy.
there from Brian McFadden and Pete Prisco.
Go to the window. I love it, Tommy. It's a winner.
Before we let you go, what are you guys looking forward to the game? Again, you guys are going to be there as we take a look at those best bets, B-Mac.
Just the atmosphere, Pete. I'm so excited to be in the building. I've never been in the stadium before. But as you know, Pete, Super Bowl games are different. The energy, the electricity, just the anticipation, everything is different and it's heightened to a whole nother level. And oftentimes, I've been retired for quite some time, and usually there's one game that I get my competitive blood goes to boiling a little bit inside of me, and it might be one of these ball games for me.
Well, good. I'll give you a forearm to make you feel right at home. How's that? No, B-Mac, it's like that 35 years of it for me, and going in there, it's the same feeling all the time. It's fantastic. It's great to watch. It's a different feel to Super Bowl. But everybody who ever played the game says once the ball kicks off, it's no different than when you played when you were 12 years old.
Yeah, the more stressful part for me is getting the kickoff.
Right.
Because you're going through so many emotions, you're thinking about so many things, but when the game is in play, now it's time to rock and roll. And I remember I needed someone to hit me because I was so anxious and so hyped up. I was like, I told one of the offensive linemen, I said, yo, hit my shoulder pass. He hit my shoulder pass, it didn't do me. I said, it didn't do me justice. I said, put your helmet on and headbutt me. When he headbutt me, it was one of those situations where you kind of seen stars and Tweety birds in your head, and you were like, okay, now it's time to go. So I had some smelling salt. It's time to rock and roll.
I'm just waiting for the start of the coronation at the end of the game of the king on his way to being the greatest football player who ever played the game, and maybe even the greatest athlete who ever played the game.
Wow, you have some time to think about that on the way to the game, and there's a little bit of traffic on the strip, so we got to let you guys go. But again, Brady Quinn likes the Chiefs, and we're going to get Todd Furman's best bet coming up later here in our pregame show. I want to remind everybody about the Early Edge. They are rocking and kicking, getting you ready for Super Bowl 58. Scan that QR code however you listen to your podcast, and also check them out on YouTube.
When you don't want to take a vacation from working out, it matters where you stay. Peloton bikes are arriving at every hotel in the Hilton family. Hilton, for the stay.
We turned M&M's peanut butter into diamonds to give Super Bowl runners-up a ring of comfort.
I've got an idea. What if we keep the diamonds and offer words of comfort to players instead?
Nah, we want diamonds.
During football's biggest event, DoorDash will DoorDash stuff from all the ads, all to one winner. Just look for the promo code on the big day for a chance to win it all. DoorDashAllTheAds.com.
He was a rebel who became a target. On February 14th,
I never knew so much struggle.
Discover the comeback of a legend. Bob Marley, One Love. To all the dads, the funny ones, the silly ones, the strong ones, the adventurous ones. To all the dads held in captivity by Hamas for over 120 days, we vow to bring you home.
We love our house.
Great location, quiet street.
The garage is a bit of a black hole.
Yeah, everything disappeared. Oh, my summer jams mix.
At least Geico makes bundling a home and car insurance easy.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
It's been such an honor filming the BetMGM Big Game commercial, and to have 3 amazing athletes has just been incredible.
3? Dude, you literally just tripped walking in here.
All right, not in front of the camera, guys. We're supposed to be a team. It's disrespectful. Glad I don't share a locker room with you two.
Greetings happen.
Hi, cutie.
The best night of the week happens.
We are having taco night.
Dance parties happen.
Hey.
Yeah, that's not good happens.
Hey, put that down.
Big moments happen.
I got into UC Davis.
Home happens. Be there with Ring. Learn more at ring.com.
Want to leave works all day so I can keep working my magic. Just want to leave. 12 hours of uninterrupted pain relief. Aleve, who do you take it for? And for fast topical pain relief, try Aleve X.
It is Super Bowl Sunday, and we have the answer to one of the most searched for questions of the day.
That question is, how do I stream the Super Bowl? It's easy. First step, just download the Paramount Plus app, which looks like this. Once you're logged in, look for the Chiefs-Niners match tile. Don't worry, it'll be front and center and look like this. Have a cable subscription? You can watch the Super Bowl that way as well by downloading the CBS Sports app and then clicking on the Super Bowl tile that looks like this. Enjoy the Super Bowl and stick around postgame for live extended coverage of the game on CBS Sports HQ.
An afternoon all about Caitlin Clark, spoiled by Nebraska. Just a few seconds left. Iowa trailing, Clark with a chance to win it. She misses. Her team gets the rebound. It's Katie Martin with the last-second attempt, no good. So no record for Caitlin Clark tonight. She's still 8 points shy of becoming the women's Division I scoring leader. And they also are stunned by Nebraska. Number 2 Iowa upset 82-79 the final. So as you take a look at the updated scoring situation here, Caitlin Clark still sitting in second place, but as you notice, she's now 7 points shy of tying Kelce Plum with 3,520 points. Obviously, another opportunity to break that record later in the week. We're going to talk about it in just a minute as we welcome our CBS Sports women's basketball analyst to the show, Erica Ayala. So, Erica, maybe not the fireworks that we wanted in terms of Caitlin Clark breaking that record. We still have to wait one more game, most likely, for her to be on top of that record. But just still an incredible performance. I believe she had 31 points, 10 assists, 1,000 assists now in her career. So not all negative necessarily. What do you think of Caitlin's performance today?
It was another solid performance from Caitlin Clark. I mean, if we are talking about most any other player in the NCAA with the numbers that she put up today, you'd still say that's a pretty good game. The thing is that everyone's been so focused on this record, and she did get a record today, and the 1,000 points that you've mentioned, it just came at the end of a loss, and a loss where not only Clark, but Iowa overall had some opportunities against Nebraska down the wire, and they just couldn't convert.
Yeah, we were talking about it before. She had 6 shots in the first quarter, or in the fourth quarter. She didn't make any of them, so Caitlin Clark held scoreless in that one, but still a great performance. That stat line officially, 31 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals. So you mentioned it's still a really active day for Caitlin Clark. She'll obviously break that record on Thursday, almost certainly, against Michigan later in the week. When you look at the atmosphere that it was in Nebraska for the potential of her to hit that record, what do you think it's going to feel like on Thursday at home in her home gym with all the Iowa fans there supporting her?
Well, we spoke about it earlier today when we were previewing this game, that is kind of the preference that we'd been hearing from Iowa, that they would like to, if at all possible, to have Caitlin Clark get this record on home court and with their fans. It was also noted on the broadcast today that Caitlin Clark, she's a true senior, and so her college career effectively started around a time where we weren't seeing fans in the stands because of COVID, and now to have sell out arenas across the country and of course at Iowa is huge. So I think it's a bitter pill that Iowa has to swallow today, but in perspective, I think the team is going to be able to hunker down. They want to support Caitlin, of course, when she beats the NCAA Women's Division I record. But also, there are things as far as implications for the conference tournament and the NCAA tournament that are also at stake in these next handful of games, including a big one coming at the end of the regular season against Iowa State. So there is plenty to play for, and the baller in Caitlin Clark, I'm pretty sure, and all of her teammates, Iowa's going to be laser focused.
Yeah, you could just see like the competitive nature come out of Caitlin whenever, the game is on the line. So you mentioned it, she'll be just fine going forward. Before we let you go, Erica, I want to talk about Nebraska, because for all the conversation surrounding Caitlin Clark in Iowa, we had the Caitlin Clark camera and the countdown. Nebraska really took it to them, and that last point that really put them over the edge, gave them the lead there in the fourth quarter. They earned that. So for a Nebraska team that I believe CBS has them as the 9th seed currently projected going into the women's tournament, now all of a sudden you get a big win over the number 2 team in the country. And if you're Nebraska, you're feeling pretty good right now.
Oh, absolutely. And again, when these two teams met last time, Nebraska really put Iowa through their paces, and it took a huge fourth quarter from Caitlin Clark to get Iowa over that hump. We talked about it earlier in the day, that would be what Iowa needed to get the win. But you have to put so much respect on Jaz Shelley, who, while Caitlin Clark maybe didn't make the 3-pointers down the stretch that we were accustomed to, it was Jaz Shelley making those for Nebraska, coming up with clutch plays, making key free throws. So this was a fired up Nebraska squad. I think they did just a really great job to turn over Iowa while keeping their turnovers at 13, not a great number, but certainly better than the 16 turnovers that Iowa had. And, I think this is just going to continue to build their confidence. And we talked about it again earlier, that this just shows the parity and the competitiveness that continues to rise in women's college basketball.
Any given Sunday, man, what a day of college hoops. Erica Ayala helping us break it all down as we're still waiting on Caitlin Clark to break that record. Erica, thank you so much. We always appreciate it. Taking a look here at Iowa's remaining regular season schedule, we continue to emphasize it. February 15th against Michigan at home. That is likely when Caitlin Clark does break that scoring record for women's Division I hoops, so we will keep our eye on that. But as Erica mentioned, this is a tough slate of games. Of course, at the very end of March, there you got that number 5 Ohio State game that will have a lot of implications on both the conference and the NCAA tournament. So a lot to watch, but as it stands, Caitlin Clark 8 points away from setting the women's Division I scoring record. A colorful music group crashing the Super Bowl party. Our analysts getting slimed on set. Just a few of the incredible moments that matter from Vegas this week. We'll take you back through it all coming up next.
Hilton honors slays.
Obsessed. Points for a free stay? Yes, please.
Upgrade.
Loves it.
All these perks. We're sliving.
Totally sliving. I said that right?
Yeah.
When you want the celebrity treatment, no matter who you are, it matters where you stay.
That's hot.
Totally.
Hilton honors. Hilton for the stay.
And the first rule of marketing, never do the same thing twice.
Grog, I gotta do the Kick of Destiny again.
What?
But this time, fans can pick if I'll make or miss for $10 million.
Interesting.
And right now, new customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win.
Let's do it.
Wait, were we gonna use the new guy this year?
Should I go? I'm doing the kick again.
You're gonna miss, Gronk! Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if you win. The Kick of Destiny 2, live Super Bowl Sunday. Make your free pick now on FanDuel.
The union of fruity sweet gummy and tangy crunchy nerds. Nerds Gummy Clusters. Unleash your senses.
You were made to act spontaneously. We were made to help plan accordingly.
This is adventure on your own terms. Missing out on the moments you live for. It's everything you love about the Navy. Plus,
everything else you just love. America's Navy Reserve.
Is she? Playing with the confidence of a pro and getting all up in that grass as if she doesn't have allergies. Yeah.
Nice.
Chris came to TurboTax because
I switched gears from delivering part-time to streaming full-time. That's how you corner checks.
Chris makes the moves and I make them count by guiding them through their taxes, filing with 100% accuracy and delivering their maximum refund, guaranteed.
I hear maximum and I'm in.
Make your moves, we'll make them count. Intuit TurboTax, 100% accuracy, guaranteed.
For Moments That Matter, presented by Hilton for the stay. Super Bowl 58 is finally here, and we've had you covered all week long from Las Vegas. But here are some of the best sights and sounds from the desert.
And I have a really, very intense, very intense. I want to actually put my finger on your face. Is this going to come off blue on my finger? This is a very important question. Ready? Oh, wow. It's actually wet. Okay, well, let's get a little bit back to football here, okay? This is an important Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the 49ers. I want you to give me your prediction about how the game is going to evolve. Are you ready? Yeah, that's very important, too, because that's some key analysis to let us know exactly. You know, when you rub the microphone, it gives even more analysis for how the game is going to go. That's very important. Okay, now, here's the last important question, too. When you're interviewing the Blue Man Group, is it best to answer in sign language, hieroglyphics, faces, pose? Do you Vogue? What's the best way to do what's the best thing? Like this? Like Madonna? Okay. All right, so does that answer who's going to win the Super Bowl? All right. Selby, back to you. Back to you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Big hug. Don't get makeup on me.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm so happy I saw that live and I hadn't seen it before. Jojo, that was hilarious. What did you say about the makeup?
Any of the blue makeup on your outfit?
We weren't going to have that.
I didn't think so.
That was the first question to, make sure I knew how much distance they had to keep away from me. But no, they're a fun group. It's always, good to see things that remind you of Vegas. Obviously, the Elvis impersonators greeted the Chiefs, and then we have the Blue Man Group at opening night.
Yeah, the word gets thrown around a lot. Really, it's a title, game manager, and some use it as a slight. I'm sure you guys, throughout the course of your career, at some level, were called a game manager, right? What does it mean to you?
Well, I don't think Matt was. I can say I was. When Jim Fossil would tell me before the game, hey, let's not screw this up. Our defense is really good. Or worse, when he said, we're going to let our defense take the ball first if we win the toss. That's when you know you're a game manager. That's what I was. Mm-hmm. This man was not a game manager.
Listen, there's nothing wrong.
MVP of the league.
There's nothing wrong with managing a game. Though, right. And so I think, when all of this conversation came up kind of mid-year, right? He hadn't had to step up in a late game situation in the NFC Championship and go win the football game. Well, he did that last week, right? So that part to me is over.
You added to Notre Dame, to their campus. I was reading about you opened a ramen bar. You do so many entrepreneurial things, and this has become a big identity for you to be an athlete entrepreneur. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. I think a lot of the times, myself, my peers, we get thrown in a box of, just play the game, just be the athlete, and be the entertainer. But, we're so much more, and we have the capacity to do multiple endeavors, being natural visionaries. I think what matters is having a team around us, because we have to keep the main thing, which is playing the game. But outside of that, I've wanted to be an entrepreneur since I was 11 years old. So I'm tapped into many endeavors. Jinya Ramen Bar is the Japanese cuisine. About 62 locations right now, but we're growing all throughout the country and bringing one to Notre Dame campus in September. Looking forward to it for sure.
We got Patrick Mahomes on a Super Bowl Sunday again. 2016. We're talking 125 points, 1,200
You're stealing
yards.
my question, Moose. I was calling the game.
I was in
the booth, dude. We almost missed our flight because it took so long. You guys kept going back and forth, back and forth.
Unreal.
What's the picture in your head when you think of that day?
About 40,000 plus people chanting "F you, Baker." He can vouch for that. It was a pretty hostile environment.
Throwing a lot of tortillas at you.
Yeah, I picked one up and took a bite of it. That probably wasn't a good idea at the time. There's no telling where that thing came from. But that unbelievable environment, and we had to score a touchdown on every single drive in the second half just to win. I mean, Patrick was obviously.
Do you remember the stat line from this?
I know he had 813 or 819 yards. So, I had 545 and 7 touchdowns.
What was impressive is, though, you only threw 20-some, 30-some passes. Yeah. He threw 88.
Yeah.
He threw 88. So he had 734 yards passing.
Okay. What was his total? Do you remember his total? I think it was.
No, that was his total passing. The total, though, for both your teams was 854 yards apiece.
That's what it was.
How random that is. You had 125 points between both of you. You ended up having 7 touchdowns. 7 touchdown passes in that game. He had 5 or whatever, but that was by far the most ridiculous game I've ever watched in my life.
It's like playing a video game.
And does anyone play defense? I mean,
at that time, no, it was Big 12. So
your teammate CD Lamb. Do you actually know CD Lamb's legit first name?
Sedarian. I call him that.
Oh, you call that? You don't call it CD?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got that.
We have some rapid fire questions for you comparing Rodgers to Love, and you played with both. You're going to say Rodgers or Love. Who would you rather ride a tandem bike with, Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers?
That's an interesting question. I'd probably go Aaron. I don't really have any reason why, but I think it would be funny. That's just it.
I didn't come up with these questions, by the way. Ruben from our social team did, and I haven't read them yet.
Who's wearing his Packers
I
throwback
love it.
jacket right now? It's awesome.
Who is louder before the snap, Rodgers or Love?
Louder? I'd probably say Aaron. I think Aaron's voice carries a little bit more than Jordan, but Jordan's been getting better with his cadence and his projection over his career for sure.
Who had the messier locker?
Ooh, that's tough. Their lockers are kind of both far away from mine, but I would probably have to say Aaron did because he always had packages and boxes all over his locker just kind of spilling out and hanging out everywhere.
Right at the front of the locker room when you walk in.
Who is the messiest locker?
On our team?
Yeah.
Has to be an offensive lineman.
I don't know, because we have these little shelves that you can hide all your stuff in, and I think everybody does a really good job of keeping everything hidden, and our equipment managers doesn't let us get too messy, so you'd have to get in someone's locker to see what's going on.
One more for you. Who would be the better beer pong partner, Rodgers or Love?
I think Jordan definitely would.
Really?
Yeah. I think me and Jordan have played beer pong together before, so yeah.
Nice.
So I'm kind of familiar with this game a little bit.
Let's add a question. Which one would curse you up and down if you jumped off sides?
That's definitely Aaron. That's happened in the game before.
I thought so. When you get a 70 burger put on you in Miami, did you ever look around and say, what in the hell am I doing back here?
Sure.
I should have stayed on the golf course.
Sure. It's not fun. One of the hardest things, I think, in sport, and we use the analogy in our league, is so much goes into the work week, the late hours. And then when you lose in a way like that, and you go to sleep and your alarm clock goes off Monday, and when you first wake up, you're like, man, hopefully that was a nightmare.
Yeah, right.
Then it's like, it's not. There's a little bit of grit that you have to develop. Getting back up, getting in the shower. It's early in the morning, and there's a lot of people counting on you and on us to change that. And so that gets kind of back to what I was saying, the comfortable coffee and the dog walk relative to, the everything matters. And there's something that draws you to that, and so there's a thrill to winning, but there's also that element of, well, we're not going to have to go through the pain of losing. Like a stay of execution, if you will.
Right.
That's sick.
Right.
But there's a little bit of that.
And it is slime time. We got the game over on Nickelodeon, and it's slime time for, well, a man, quite frankly, deserves to get slimed.
Oh, 100%. I think if we all agreed that if somebody on our crew was to get slimed, it was going to be Will Brinson. John Breach is doing it because Ryan Wilson was worried about his expensive shoes. Will, do you have any last words?
Let's do it, Breach. Get it over with.
All right.
Guys,
it is slime time.
Stick your tongue out.
Brandy!
Oh, he looks like he'd be in Green Man Group.
Will, how are you feeling?
This is so bad. So bad.
Is your 11-year-old kid gonna think you're cool?
No!
Oh, no! Down goes Brinson! Damn it! Down!
You can't move. I can't move on my side. This is ridiculous.
What? This is what happens when you don't get to 500 for a season. You give us horrible picks week in and week out.
Just crawl. Just crawl might be your best bet.
So Brinson said his work week was totally over. He's flying out tonight, but he had to stick around on the set because he had to get slimed.
Brinson, it's incredible.
That is our little preview for the Super Bowl over on Nickelodeon.
I can walk through that crosswalk now.
Yeah, we don't know how he's getting back to the hotel.
Crosswalk.
Man, I feel bad for Will Brinson's washing machine after that one. Hey, the guys have been doing such a great job out in Las Vegas. The big game just a few more hours away here. You can catch it right here on CBS, also streaming on Paramount+. Well, come kickoff, Andy Reid will join Bill Belichick, Don Shula, and Tom Landry as the only head coaches with 5 or more Super Bowl appearances. But can he cap it off with another Lombardi? We head back out to Vegas after this.
So with all these Hilton Honors points, I could stay for free.
What about the canopy in Paris?
Babe, Hilton Honors. How long has that been here?
And there's no blackout dates?
Hilton Honors, baby.
There's no way the Conrad Tulum's included.
When you want points that can take you anywhere,
Hilton Honors, babe.
it matters where you stay. Hilton, for the stay.
You're right. Came in too hot.
Told you I was right.
Should we call a tow truck?
A tow truck? Man, you built like a tow truck. Just go get it.
Yeah. Pull my oikos.
Those are show muscles.
I'll show you muscles.
Buy me new pants, show muscles.
Take your oikos, little man.
Protein packed to help build strong muscles.
You crazy.
I'd do anything.
PetSmart carries Hill's Science Diet puppy food with the nutrients your pup needs and the prebiotic blend Active Biome Plus that supports healthy digestion. PetSmart, anything for pets.
We've turned M&M's peanut butter into diamonds for an almost champion's ring of comfort.
Does it taste like peanut butter?
No, it's an actual diamond. Any other questions? Ooh. That aren't about how they taste.
Off the bounce, gave one up. This is just gorgeous right here. Everybody occupied, heady play. The 3-guard look can be devastating. Take advantage of mismatches.
Our generation isn't turning away from the world's problems. Watch us fly ahead, rise to every challenge, and overcome anything. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
When's he gonna be here?
It's late. Do you think we could get some boba? What's boba? Who knows?
What's a teaser? So, it's an ad for an ad. Why would they do that? Huh?
Big plans? Don't let allergies get in your way. This is Astapro Allergy. Astapro starts working in 30 minutes, while Flonase takes up to 12 hours. With Astapro's unbeatably fast allergy relief, you can Astapro and go.
Super Bowl Sunday, and we have the answer to one of the most searched for questions of the day.
That question is, how do I stream the Super Bowl? It's easy. First step, just download the Paramount Plus app, which looks like this. Once you're logged in, look for the Chiefs-Niners match tile. Don't worry, it'll be front and center and look like this. Have a cable subscription? You can watch the Super Bowl that way as well by downloading the CBS Sports app and then clicking on the Super Bowl tile that looks like this. Enjoy the Super Bowl and stick around postgame for live extended coverage of the game on CBS Sports HQ.
You were watching CBS Sports HQ's coverage of Super Bowl 58, and we're presented by Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Here's a look at Pete Prisco's top 5 coaches since the NFL merger. It goes Bill Belichick, Don Shula, Chuck Noll, Bill Walsh, and Mr. Gibbs with the Washington franchise there in the 80s. And if we talk about what's at stake for these head coaches, as I'm Tommy Tran, now joined by Lige Dusable and Danny Cannell. Let's start with Andy Reid, who already has 2 Lombardis. Danny here, what would a third do? And would a third get Andy into this conversation with Pete?
Oh, it 100% gets him in the conversation. The question is, how far up that list can he go? I think there's a couple guys that are insurmountable. Bill Belichick, obviously the GOAT. He's got a long way to go, much like the Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady debate. Don Shula, I'm partial to him, all-time winningest coach in the history of the league, so he's tough to catch. The Chuck Noll debate, does he get in that conversation? I don't know if I'd go that far, but he's still young and he's still got time. I know there's been, some rumors about him possibly hanging up. I don't see how he possibly does that with Patrick Mahomes in his prime, but he absolutely, becomes a part of the conversation of one of the greatest coaches for all time.
DK, he's already in the top 5. And I say, this is why I say that, right? When you look at Andy Reid and what he's done, not just with the Chiefs, the dominance the last 6 years, 6 straight AFC Championship games, 3 out of the last 4 Super Bowls if he should win this one. Let's not forget when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles, right? 4 straight years in the NFC Championship game. They went to the Super Bowl there. So I like to look at the totality of somebody's career. And then when you talk about where do you put him if he does win this, he doesn't jump Belichick, right? But does he jump maybe a Don Shula or Chuck Noll? Well, when you look at Chuck Noll and the era that he played in, right? A lot of times those guys stayed around for 8 or 9 years. When you look at Andy Reid, he's had to revamp the team every other year. Tyreek Hill leaves, right? What's going to happen with the Kansas City Chiefs? What are they going to do? Win another Super Bowl. So when you look at what Andy Reid has done in the era that he's done it, if he wins this one, I put him at number 2 all time, right? Because just look at the consistency and dominance, and you see the graphic right there. Most playoff wins as a head coach, number 2 on the list already, has a really good chance if he stays. Like you said, Danny, there's rumors that he could walk away, but if he stays another 5 or 6 years, probably most likely going to catch Bill Belichick.
You know what? I think the best asset he's got going, if you want to make the case for him to be number 2 all time, we did it since the merger. I think the game has changed since free agency.
Yeah.
Because it used to be Chuck Noll was able to collect guys.
But that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Like if you went all time, we left off Vince Lombardi, George Halas, some all-time greats. But I think if you started it from free agency, then he's number 2, and it's not even close. And you kind of have that conversation. Because I do think the challenges that coaches face now with salary cap, just handling rosters, that turnover we mentioned about reinventing puts him absolutely on that conversation for the more recent coaches.
It'll be interesting to see. He's benefited from having Steve Spagnuolo be a terrific coordinator for him on that side of the ball. You mentioned having Patrick Mahomes here. By the way, our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones, saying looks like Andy Reid's going to be staying put, not going to be going anywhere. The head coach of the Chiefs, Tracy Wolfson, caught up with him before the game.
Coach, one more to go. You guys have seemed to figure it out over the last 5 games, but what will be the formula today against the 49ers?
Well, it always starts with the big guys. So we got to make sure we play well up front, both sides of the ball.
And then specifically in terms of this offense, how important will it be to manage the game and just let your defense roll like they've been able to do?
Defense has been doing a great job, so they'll need to do that. This is a very good offense. And likewise, the offense is going to have to produce. So 2 good football teams playing each other should be a heck of a competition.
We heard the meeting last night was extremely emotional. Your leaders stood up and gave some impressive speeches. But for you, what will be your final words to this team?
Yeah, be yourselves and go play.
And then finally, if you could, win back-to-back Super Bowls, 3 in 5 years, what would that mean to you and to this team?
Yeah, I really don't go there. I just try to stay on task here and make sure we perform well. We want to do a good job and play well, and we'll let all that stuff fall where it may after that.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
And that's a buttoned-up Andy Reid, no pun intended there, because he's been much more thoughtful and insightful during the week, even talking about how his team is underdogs this week. Lige, is there anything you can extrapolate from what Andy Reid just said there?
Not really. You could tell that he's really just kick off and go coach his team and try to win another Super Bowl. I know those coaches, those interviews are great because we get information that we normally don't get, but those coaches are ready and they're locked in. They're ready to go put their team out on the field and go make history.
Yeah, he's not giving you anything right there. I mean, he's keeping it short. Think about the nerves, too. I mean, he's nervous, stressed. He wants to get to the kickoff, right? Yeah. Every player, every coach just wants to get to the field. This is, coaches probably don't love doing these interviews. Granted, I agree with you. Trace says great job. All of our reporters do a great job. Yeah. Coaches don't want to do this. Yeah. They want to get in. They want to be with their guys, start prepping, start getting dialed in for the game. And he doesn't want to have any conversations outside what this means, big picture. He just wants to think about that opening drive. What are we doing? Can't wait to see the counter, what they're going to run. Like all of the intricacies of the game is what he's thinking about.
And I'm sure that's the same thing that Kyle Shanahan's also doing here on the game day on Super Bowl Sunday. And Kyle lost to Andy Reid 4 years ago in Miami Gardens here. But Danny, what would a loss do for Kyle Shanahan? What could a win do for Kyle Shanahan?
So I think it's much bigger for Kyle Shanahan this game. Andy Reid's already on the cusp of the conversation we were having before, even if he loses this game. Kyle Shanahan's just looking to enter the conversation of a select few number of players who have ever won, coaches who have ever won a Super Bowl. And he doesn't want to get there again and lose, or else you become part of the conversation of the greatest coaches never to win one. You think of Marv Levy, a Marty Schottenheimer, a Dan Reeves, who I played for. That's all of a sudden you start getting that label. Not to mention the fact that you were, blew the lead when you were a coordinator. You blew the lead the last time you played these Chiefs. I kind of worry about him if they go up early. If it's 17-3, what does he do?
In the back of the head.
Exactly. That mental game is very real. But I think a Super Bowl win would all of a sudden put a stamp on his career, putting him as one of the better coaches in the league.
Danny, nobody has more pressure in this game than Kyle Shanahan. You talked about the legacy alone, being up 28-3, and then playing this team 4 years ago, up 10 in that game. But more so, he's a system disruptor, right? Because if you look at the last few quarterbacks that have won, they've all been superstar quarterbacks. Now, I do believe Brock Purdy can turn into a superstar quarterback, but Kyle's system, the thing has always been, my system works. Just throw the ball where it needs to throw. So he's been a system disruptor in that stake. So if he doesn't get the Super Bowl this year, Tommy, when will he get it, right? Does he change his mindset as far as going to potentially go get a superstar quarterback to try to get over the hump and win the Super Bowl? Because I don't know if you can change the roster anymore. This is probably the best roster in the NFL right now. So for Kyle Shanahan, this is do or die because you're a system disruptor, right? You've changed things around to show that you don't absolutely need a star quarterback to get to the Super Bowl. Now can you finish the deal and win it?
You know what I think it changes for him, too? The perception of him. Right now, everybody knows he's a great offensive mind. Yeah. Do they think he's a great coach? I don't know. That's probably debatable. A lot of coaches look at that saying, I don't know, is he a leader of grown men? He won one here. Unequivocally, he's one of the best coaches in the league.
I think there are some similarities, not direct similarities, actually, with Kyle Shanahan now and a younger Andy Reid. So I mentioned he had success in Philly.
Correct.
Lost the Super Bowl. So I was telling this with DK one time last week. So Andy Reid won his first Super Bowl in his 7th season with Kansas City. Kyle Shanahan, 7th season.
Ooh, I like
San
it, Tommy.
Francisco.
I like
it could be a little bit of sweet revenge, I know, which Niner Empire is looking for. Quickly here, though, in terms of what I wanted to follow up, Danny, because you mentioned, would we be scared if they get a lead? Well, they've actually been behind the last 2 playoff games. The record for Kyle Shanahan, 8 or more points in the fourth quarter. Some of that's been answered, so will that be another opportunity to be answered? If the Niners are down big in the fourth quarter, would you trust Kyle Shanahan?
Absolutely. I would trust him for sure, unequivocally. I think you answered some of those questions against Detroit. That game looked dire. And sometimes all it takes is one to kind of burst that bubble, to kind of put that narrative to rest, and to buy in the confidence of the team and to be able to put that behind you. So I don't think I'll be worried about them at all. You don't want to go too far behind Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, the reigning champs, but I'm not that worried. I feel like this team is built. They have so many offensive weapons. They're built to come behind if they have to, but they play better from the front.
Yeah, this is a team of destiny. You talked about it, Tommy. In his whole career as a head coach for the 49ers, down 8 or more points in the fourth quarter, had never come back. They did that not only once, they did it twice in the playoffs, but they haven't played the Kansas City Chiefs defense. So I feel like if they do go down by 10, it's over because that defense with Steve Spagnuolo, they will strangle you to death.
Make sure to check out the Pick Six podcast, our daily NFL podcast with CBS Sports. The fellas were here the entire week, taping shows, and they'll have you ready for Super Bowl 58 between the Chiefs and the Niners coming up. Speaking of coming up, we're going to break down a little bit more coming up here on Super Bowl 58, CBS Sports HQ, Mahomes and that 49ers defense. It's 4 years coming back to run it back.
With all these Hilton Honors points, I could stay for free.
Mm-hmm. At the Waldorf Astoria in the Maldives. What about the Canopy in Paris?
World's biggest event. DoorDash will DoorDash stuff from all the ads. All to one winner. All the snacks. Every automobile. A tax service. And who knows what else. We haven't fully thought this thing through yet. Just look for the promo code on the big day for a chance to win it all. DoorDashAllTheAds.com.
I want to make music to change the world.
Bob Marley, One Love.
Always dry scoop before you run.
The zero effort workout will have you jacked.
Listen to me. A hard dog diet got me shredded.
Keep your mouth shut. You'll sleep better.
With B vitamins to help convert food into fuel. One a day. Science that matters.
And it's live, baby. Ooh, we're placing money lines in real time. We got second half spreads and third set winners as they happen. Overs hitting in extra innings. Live is where the action is at. Can we get these people a promo? There it is.
Join Planet Fitness during the Big Fitness Energy Sale and save big. Get equipment for every workout and free fitness training, all in the judgment-free zone. Join today online, in club, or on the free PF app. Deal ends Friday, February 16th.
The union of fruity sweet gummy and tangy crunchy nerds. Nerds Gummy Clusters. Unleash your senses.
Wanna Leave works all day, so I can keep working my magic. Just Wanna Leave. 12 hours of uninterrupted pain relief. Aleve, who do you take it for? And for fast topical pain relief, try Aleve X.
Super Bowl has hype. And usually, the biggest event in television lives up to it all.
Away for a touchdown. How important is this football game? What a play. Unbelievable. Holy catfish. I don't know how he did it. An amazing play.
What a finish to an unbelievable Super Bowl. Now, on the doorstep of the big one, it's hard to imagine it leaving the audience with anything but a classic. You can take your pick of storylines, but how can we ignore the one right in front of us? On one hand, there's Brock Purdy, a 1 in 24 million story. Yep, we did the math. Is back in the city where he heard his name called last.
47th, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy.
Taking the NFL by storm.
He cannot be stopped.
He is amazing.
Then there's Patrick Mahomes, a one-of-one player on the verge of leading a team to back-to-back titles for the first time since 2004. One of the only ghosts he's chasing.
We ain't done yet.
He's on his way to becoming the best quarterback who's ever played.
Legacy-defining game for Patrick Mahomes.
And with Vegas as the backdrop for the first time ever, all bets are off. This this surely will be one for the record books. Welcome to Super Bowl 58 on CBS.
Time now for the game plan, brought to you by Empower. Tackle your money questions at empower.com. Super Bowl 58 on CBS Sports. And did you know that CBS Sports is set to air its 22nd Super Bowl? That is the most of any network as we get ready for Allegiant Stadium in Sin City. Back here with Danny Cannell and Lee Dusible to dive into the matchups here. I'm going to talk about Patrick Mahomes. Well, I am, and then you are going to break down Patrick Mahomes against that Niners defense. And Lee, I'm going to start with you because, again, this is a Super Bowl rematch.
Yeah.
Defensively for San Francisco, what's different? What stands out to you about this matchup?
Well, when you look at Patrick Mahomes, DK, he's one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback, attacking zone coverage. So it'll be interesting because the San Francisco 49ers play a lot of zone coverage, Tommy. It'll be interesting to see how Steve Wilks comes out. He got beat up in zone coverage in that first half versus the Lions. Started playing a little bit more match zone man coverage, and teams that have been able to do that and get hands on Travis Kelce have had a little bit of success versus Patrick Mahomes in his offense. So when you look at this, I can't wait to see how Steve Wilks comes out, right? We know this defense, right, was called out. Lack of effort in that NFC Championship game. Poor tackling. They didn't play up to the standard, and that was the word that Steve Wilks used. So I can't wait to see how they come out versus Patrick Mahomes. Will they play a little bit more man coverage and match zone? The only thing is, when you do that, Ambry Thomas on the island, he struggled in this playoffs. Lenore in the slot, he struggled in this playoffs. Also, will L'Jarius Sneed, but Tarvarius Ward, will he travel with Rashee Rice? I can't wait to see this matchup.
As a quarterback, if I'm Patrick Mahomes, I'm hoping they play man coverage. I got better weapons. You know, it's just you dial up your man beaters, you're ready to go. They like to live by the big play.
Yeah.
I'll be interested. I think they will lean into the zone a little bit more. See if they can get pressure from the front four. I think that's specifically what he's calling out, saying, man, we need to get. I bet he showed him that the Super Bowl that they had against the Tampa Bay Bucks when Patrick Mahomes was running for his life all night and couldn't put the team on his back. He almost did, but he was getting hit so much and was getting so much pressure that ultimately at the end he couldn't do it. But the one thing that I think is scary is we've used the term game manager so much for Brock Purdy. I thought Patrick Mahomes actually developed more of a game manager skill set this season specifically, as he was more patient, did not force the ball, did not try to take those big shots down the field, which is why a big of the reason through the middle portion of the season when they were struggling on offense, we're all like, what's wrong? Where's the big play? Well, he wasn't making the big mistake. And so that to me is, do the 49ers test Patrick Mahomes' patience and bait them to run the football too, which is why I think Isaiah Pacheco becomes a big part of this game. I think they're going to try to take it out of his hands by playing a little bit more conservative, see if they can take the run away with the front seven and just keep him in front of you on the back.
And to your point, we've seen the maturation of Patrick Mahomes because we talked about it, Tommy and DK. We've seen over the past few years where he's felt like he's had to have the Superman cape and go up and put 30 points on. But now he knows he has a championship defense that he can lean into. Tommy, we were just talking about the AFC Championship game. I don't believe they scored in the second half, but some of Patrick Mahomes' best plays in that second half was not throwing an ill-advised throw, taking a sack, letting the clock run. So we've seen the maturation in Patrick Mahomes. So if it's not there, like you said, DK, the last 5 weeks, he's either taking a sack or throwing the football away.
I was going to say one more thing real quick because this blows me away. He was so patient against the Ravens, and then his biggest play of the game I thought was when he closed it out on 3rd and 9, 2-minute drill. You're thinking they were going to run the ball, kick it away. Instead, when it is there and you get that man coverage, you get that opportunity, bam, he kills you. So if you're going to play that be patient style, you as a defense have to be patient and not give up that big play.
You brought up Pacheco. We're going to get to that matchup in just a little bit. Great to have you guys here. Instead, again, offense and defense, the perspectives there. So, Danny, I'm going to tee you up on Christian McCaffrey and obviously the KC defense. CMC, what's the approach there?
This is going to be fascinating. I love this matchup between, just in general, the 49ers offense versus the Chiefs defense, but I do think it's going to go as Christian McCaffrey goes, and good luck trying to take him away. I think you try to disguise the looks, which does Steve Spagnuolo loves to disguise the looks, but the problem with disguising, sometimes you're out of position. You know, you're trying to move guys around, they can get out of place, and if you can snap it at the right time, you can really get them on their heels. And the thing that makes Christian McCaffrey so tough tough is he's so versatile. He can do so many different things with the football. I wouldn't be surprised if you see some play action pass early, because everybody, all of us up here have said you got to get Christian McCaffrey going on the run game. But first, second down, play action pass, and guess who comes creeping out the backfield? If you take that shot deep, if it's there, you take it. But if it's not, you come to your checkdowns, which is going to be Christian McCaffrey maybe in the flat or hooked over the ball. It's a very easy completion for the quarterback, Brock Purdy, who I think needs to get some confidence early in this game. So I say good luck to Steve Spagnuolo and company, but I do think they'll surround the line of scrimmage, put a lot of bodies up there, and say, Brock Purdy, you're going to have to beat us through the air.
Yeah, we talked about this being a championship defense, the Kansas City Chiefs, but we've kind of seen a philosophy change, especially when a minute who went down a few weeks ago in the playoffs, right? They've got a lot of five-man front, right? Leo Chanel coming down on the edge, right? Reducing Mike Dana, and then having George Karlaftis on the end. So I think if you look at this, I think that's what Steve Spagnuolo will do. He'll come out with that reduced front, have a linebacker on the line to kind of mitigate this run defense, because I don't think they're going to play a lot of man coverage, just because we know how explosive the receivers are for the San Francisco 49ers and George Kittle and CMC. You got to put them all in there together. And even Juszczyk, too. We've seen him with a 20-plus reception 2 weeks ago in the NFC Championship game. But that has been what has hurt this Chiefs defense. They've been a championship defense, but they're giving up over 5.5 yards a carry. And let's not forget, versus the Buffalo Bills, over 180 yards on the ground. Now, the Baltimore Ravens let them off the hook, which I didn't understand, because Gus Edwards breaks one for 10, and then Lamar Jackson breaks one for 20-something, and then they just don't run the ball again. 6 attempts in that game. I think Kyle Shanahan will be attentive on running the ball a little bit more. That'll be the challenge for this Kansas City defense, right? Championship-type defense, but they've struggled against the run at times this year.
Continuing the game plan theme, next up, Travis Kelce, DK.
Good luck again. A lot of these are like good luck, but I do think with Kelce, if he's lined up on the line of scrimmage, you try to get an extra body on him. You try to make sure he doesn't get a free release. The problem is, if they notice that, they'll split him out. They'll move him around. He's versatile enough to line up as looks like a wide receiver and get out there. But I do think also you've got to make sure you're in the right position. And even if you are, you got to realize you're going to give up some of those big plays. But I think we're all aware that the receivers are younger. They haven't had that receiver, that real true alpha step up. So I wouldn't be hesitant at all to double Travis Kelce, put 2 guys on him, and say Rashee Rice, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you guys are going to have to beat him. And I do think there's a susceptibility here where you want to bait the Chiefs to run the football. That's going to be a common theme that you're going to hear, because that brings the ball out of Patrick and Travis Kelce's hand, and it does something that Kelce doesn't love to do, and that's run block.
It has blown my mind, Tommy and DK, that the first 3 playoff games for the Chiefs, teams have allowed him free access. And when I say free access, not putting hands on him at the line of scrimmage. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens had a historically good defense, and he carved them up in the first half because they just allowed him to feel his way through zone. He's the best tight end in the National Football history at finding that void in the zone. And a lot of times, him and Patrick Mahomes play freestyle football. Like, we've heard Mahomes come out and say, like, a lot of times I don't even know where he's going to be. He just fires away in zone. And I just hit him right in between the numbers. So, to your point, DK, you have to put hands on him. I love what the Baltimore Ravens did in that second half, right? Every time, even if it was zone coverage, somebody hit him in the first 5 yards. They double-teamed him in the second half. If I'm the San Francisco 49ers and Steve Wilks, Travis Kelce is not beating me this game. Like you said, Isaiah Pacheco, maybe Rashee Rice, but the greatest tight end in NFL history is not beating me this game.
That's why there are some professional bettors and sharps that are actually fading the Kelce 71.5, because they do believe that Wilks will not let Kelce beat them. On the flip side, Danny, George Kittle.
So this is the one, I think this is a more fascinating matchup. I think Kittle could have a big game here, because I think you're a little bit more worried about Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, so that'll provide better opportunity. And also in the run game, with both the blocking, because he's an exceptional blocker, but also having played in the system, the ability to use play-action pass to get your tight end involved. I used to run a fake 19 handoff, quarterback keep pass left all the time, where you'd fake the hard zone left, and then you'd roll out to the right, and Kittle's fake run blocking, but then he comes back across the defense, and it's an easy throw. You can get him on multiple levels. He can come over on a shorter drag, or you can get a little bit deeper in the defense, depending on the play call. There's little tweaks that you can make to it. So I think Kittle's the one that's going to be a little bit more of a headache there for Steve Spagnuolo and company trying to defend, because there's so many pieces. I think he could be the forgotten one. So Tommy, I agree with you. The books all want Travis Kelce under. I like Kittle over his receptions better than I do Kelce's.
Great minds think alike, DK. I like over the 3.5 receptions for George Kittle. I know we'll talk about that later. But if you look at this Chiefs defense, it'll be interesting, right? Drew Tranquill has played really well, but he has been susceptible to getting beat in the pass game, especially down the seam, right? We saw Dalton Kincaid have a game versus the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round, right? George Kittle down the seam, and then on those corner routes, we've seen these linebackers get beat. So Willie Gay looks like he will return. He has more speed. It'll be interesting to see how Steve Spagnuolo really guards George Kittle. Because to your point, DK, you got to worry about CMC. You got to worry about Debo. Then you got to worry about Brandon Ayuk. It's crazy to say because George Kittle is probably the most complete tight end in football. He's probably the fourth option you're looking at to take away from this high-powered San Francisco offense. So George Kittle, I think, could be in for a big day. Like you said, heavy play-action pass while you're trying to stop, CMC in the backfield. George Kittle down the seam, and then those crossing and over routes, I think will be big for him today.
Niner fans like seeing him do the block and slip out. Kittle's really good with that in terms of, especially in the red zone situation.
Kyle Shanahan special.
He loves that, certainly. Danny, you mentioned Isaiah Pacheco, so let's tackle him now. The interesting thing is, A, he's become a really good player at the position, and then B, on the flip side, the Niners have had a little bit of tough situations with running backs, with Aaron Jones and the Packers, and then the two-headed monster with the Detroit Lions.
I mean, early in both of those games, they were struggling out the gate. And we've talked a lot about Christian McCaffrey. I think Isaiah Pacheco, if the Chiefs are supposed to win, or if they're going to win, they'll have to get him over his total, and I'd like to see him close to 100 yards if the Chiefs are going to win. I know it's about Patrick Mahomes and the weapons and Travis Kelce, but I think it's Pacheco that has the bigger game in this matchup, and he's pretty tough too, sneaking out with screens as well. Love his running style. He's got big play capability, and this is another one where, are you going to get up? Are you going to take those risks up front? I think they will, but I think you've got to have a lot of plays where you call and run it. You're going to be that committed to the run early in this game. If you're the Chiefs, get Pacheco going early.
I stated this earlier in the week, guys, that I think if the Chiefs win this game, it'll be not because of Patrick Mahomes' arm, but because of Isaiah Pacheco on the offensive line. I did a breakdown on certain run plays, especially the G scheme. You know this, DK, the power physical run game. The San Francisco 49ers have really struggled. Versus the Detroit Lions, they got carved for 180 yards. Aaron Jones went over 100 yards. So I think Andy Reid, we talked about the maturation of Patrick Mahomes and how he's been more mature and not forcing things down the field. I think this will be a game where he leans on the offensive line and say, guys, all right, let's be physical like we were versus Philadelphia in that second half when we made that comeback in the Super Bowl last year. Let's lean on Isaiah Pacheco. And if you're the San Francisco 49ers, you got to look at yourself in the mirror because you guys have been punched in the mouth the last 2 games in the run game. And I think they've seen that on film, the Kansas City Chiefs. I expect Andy Reid to come out with a physical mindset and really get Isaiah Pacheco going.
You brought up Ayuk and Samuel, so I'll give you first word on what you think Spags will do against these two.
So this is the thing, DK. We know Steve Spagnuolo is really good at disguising and bringing pressure and then going man coverage because he has all pros in the secondary. But when you're playing the Yak brothers for the San Francisco 49ers and you miss a tackle, it's going to the house for a touchdown. So I really look at this game and I could see Steve Spagnuolo playing a little bit more zone, a little bit more, green dog zone coverage in the background, right? Not playing as much man coverage because, again, with Debo Samuel out on the edge, with Brandon Ayuk, with George Kittle out on the edge, if you miss a tackle, they're gone for the house. And another interesting thing, right? L'Jarius Sneed has traveled with the #1 receiver. Will he travel with Brandon Ayuk? The only thing is, Kyle Shanahan does a masterful job in putting so much pre-snap motion and bunch sets. You already know this. If you're in man coverage in those bunch sets, rub routes, right? Yep. So, you worry about playing so much man coverage. I look for Steve Spagnuolo to come out and play a little bit more zone this game.
The 49ers run the second most pre-snap motion in the NFL, and it's for a reason. They want to try to give Brock Purdy a tell. They want to be able to see, all right, where's the pressure coming from? Is it zone? Is it man behind him? It's pretty easy. It's pretty basic to see. If you're a quarterback, it simplifies. So do the Chiefs come out, and do they try to disguise early and try to see, or do they have checks ready for that? Because they know all this pre-snap motion's coming.
For sure.
So I would expect them to kind of check to some things that maybe look like it's going to be man coverage, and then at the last minute, they switch out. Maybe bring that guy that was running him off the edge. Something to try to confuse a young quarterback. Got to remember that as well as he's played this season, that Brock Purdy is still just a second-year player that's very young. This is his first big moment. I think they're going to throw some looks at him that he's not going to be ready for. Yep. So I would expect Steve Spagnuolo to stay true to who he is with some confusing looks, trying to confuse the young quarterback.
Good stuff, fellas. We want to remind everybody about the Pluto TV Super Bowl channel. You still have time to check it out, and even if you miss it today, there's an opportunity till the 21st. Again, get ready for Super Bowl 58 by watching the NFL Super Bowl Classics channel exclusively on Pluto TV now until February 21st. For a limited time, relive 54 historical Super Bowls and catch award-winning programs from NFL Films.
So with all these Hilton Honors points, I could stay for free.
At the Waldorf Astoria in the Maldives?
Yep. Hilton Honors, babe.
Ooh. What about the canopy in Paris?
Babe, Hilton Honors. How long has that been here?
And there's no blackout dates.
Hilton Honors, baby.
There's no way the Conrad Tulum's included.
When you want points that can take you anywhere,
Hilton Honors, babe.
it matters where you stay.
A tow truck? Man. Tow truck. Just go get it. Here, pull my oikos. Those are show muscles. I'll show you muscle. Buy me new pants, show muscle. Take your oikos, little man.
Protein pack to help build strong muscles.
You crazy.
I'd do anything.
PetSmart carries Hill's Science Diet puppy food with the nutrients your pup needs and the prebiotic blend Active Biome Plus that supports healthy digestion. PetSmart, anything for pets.
We've turned M&M's peanut butter into diamonds for an almost champion's ring of comfort.
Does it taste like peanut butter?
No, it's an actual diamond. Any other questions? Ooh. That aren't about how they taste.
With all these Hilton Honors points, I could stay for free.
At the Waldorf Astoria in the Maldives? What about the canopy in Paris?
Hilton Honors, babe.
When you want points that can take you anywhere, it matters where you stay. Hilton for the stay.
These teams are coming off big-time performances. Kentucky dropping 109 on Vanderbilt. The Zags dropping 96 on Portland. This is going to be a show today.
It's big, Brad, because Jay's here. What more do we need?
Our generation isn't turning away from the world's problems. Watch us fly ahead, rise to every challenge, and overcome anything. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
And the first rule of marketing, never do the same thing twice.
Wrong. I gotta do the kick of destiny again.
What?
But this time, fans can pick if I'll make or miss for $10 million.
Interesting.
And right now, new customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win.
Let's do it.
Wait, were we gonna use the new guy this year? Should I go? I'm doing the kick again.
You're gonna miss, Gronk! Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if you win. The Kick of Destiny 2, live Super Bowl Sunday. Make your free pick now on FanDuel.
I just learned I'm losing my hair.
I feel the same way.
I have ED.
When something is off, it can feel hard to hide.
It is Super Bowl Sunday, and we have the answer to one of the most searched for questions of the day.
That question is, how do I stream the Super Bowl? It's easy. First step, just download the Paramount Plus app, which looks like this. Once you're logged in, look for the Chiefs-Niners match tile. Don't worry, it'll be front and center and look like this. Have a cable subscription? You can watch the Super Bowl that way as well by downloading the CBS Sports app and then clicking on the Super Bowl tile that looks like this. Enjoy the Super Bowl and stick around postgame for live extended coverage of the game on CBS Sports HQ.
Let's get to some updated headlines this Sunday. We'll start in the NBA. Miami Heat star Jimmy Butler is taking a leave of absence after the death of a family member, according to a statement from his agent on Sunday. It's unclear when he will return. After today's game versus the Celtics, the Heat have 2 more games this week until the All-Star break. Elsewhere, the Philadelphia Eagles have granted edge rusher Hassan Reddick permission to seek a trade. That's according to NFL Network. Reddick, who led Philly with 11 sacks this season, has 1 year left on the $45 million contract he signed back in 2022. Meanwhile, 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady set to become a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, according to the NFL Network. Brady's investment was altered to reflect the proper value of the Raiders. His group is expected to purchase around 10% of the franchise. And in soccer news, Real Madrid star Jude Bellingham will be sidelined for 3 weeks due to a high ankle sprain. The English international was injured Saturday in La Liga action. The club will have to be without their leading scorer when the round of 16 of the Champions League begins later this week against Red Bull Leipzig. Was the excitement kicking in yet? Maybe you're putting the final touches on your Super Bowl spread for those snacks. We are inching closer to kickoff out in Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58. We're back at the Bellagio right after this.
So with all these Hilton honors points, I could stay for free. At the Waldorf Astoria in the Maldives?
Yep. Hilton Honors, babe.
Ooh. What about the canopy in Paris?
Babe, Hilton Honors. How long has that been here?
And there's no blackout dates?
Hilton Honors, baby.
There's no way the Conrad Tulum's included.
When you want points that can take you anywhere,
Hilton Honors, babe.
it matters where you stay. Hilton for the stay.
Greetings happen.
Hi, cutie.
Yeah, that's not good happens. Huge things happen.
I got into UC Davis.
Home happens. Be there with Ring. Learn more at ring.com.
This is adventure on your own terms. Where you can protect our nation's future while never missing out on the moments you live for. It's everything you love about the Navy, plus everything else you just love. America's Navy Reserve.
What's a teaser? So, it's an ad for an ad. Why would they do that? Huh?
The warp rift is expanding. All worlds within the Calaxian Veil will be consumed.
This difficulty demands a specialist, an ease specialist.
Yeah, that's me. Geico makes it easy to get coverage for what you care about. Cars, apartments, jewelry. Jewelry?
And what about the warp rift?
I've got you. There you go.
Dust in the cartridge.
Goonie.
From cars to renters to jewelry, it's easy to Geico.
The union of fruity sweet gummy and tangy crunchy nerds. Nerds Gummy Clusters. Unleash your senses.
You were made to act spontaneously. We were made to help plan accordingly.
Let's begin, shall we?
This is Apple TV Plus, the streaming service with something for everyone.
Let's go!
New releases every week, the best movies, shows, and so much more. You can watch it on all the devices you already own.
Here we go.
Start streaming now.
Welcome back to HQ, brought to you by Empower. Tackle your money questions at empower.com. The 49ers have been favored in every game this season, including tonight's Super Bowl, as they look to secure Lombardi number 6 tonight. Our reporter Evan Washburn spoke with GM John Lynch with more on the matchup.
Well, John, first of all, appreciate your time ahead of this game. You've played in the Super Bowl and won one, so you know what to look for. What stood out from your guys from a mentality standpoint and preparation standpoint that you think could impact this game?
Well, they got the right mindset. Our guys do. Kyle's done a great job of initiating that, leading these guys. I think we've got a lot of tremendous leaders who understand the opportunity at hand. They also have a healthy respect for the Chiefs, as they should. They're the reigning champs. They're an excellent football team. They're an excellent organization. So we got to play great, and we're fully capable of doing that.
When you and Kyle built this year's version of the 49ers, What characteristics do you think were most impactful to you getting to this game?
Character, grit, resiliency. I think we've seen that in the last couple games. Different path for us. We're used to playing from ahead, and last couple weeks we've played from behind. But I think that might serve us well. I think it's taught us that we're never out of a game, and hopefully we don't go that route today. But we're ready, whatever the game brings us. I think our guys have a ton of belief.
Lastly, what's been the message, whether it was last night or in the early morning portion of this day, about how you want this team to take the field?
Take it. You got to take it. They're the champs. We got to take it if we want it. What an opportunity. I love our group. I love our mindset. And here we go.
John, thanks again.
Thanks a lot, Evan.
Evan Washburn joining us now from inside Allegiant Stadium. Evan, we talk a lot about Kansas City and the dynasty they've built over the last few years, but the Niners have been to Super Bowls twice in the last 4 years. What's the confidence level from the team ahead of kickoff today?
Haley, they're extremely confident. You mentioned it. They've been in this game in recent years, and they've been successful year in and year out. It's a credit to John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and what they've built. And one word he didn't use in describing it, it's an extremely unselfish group, and that makes them a powerful team, especially offensively, because they can attack you in so many different ways, and you don't know who's going to be the guy to beat you. So I think that gives this team a ton of confidence. And you heard that last bite there, and it gets me fired up, because as much as there's talk about Kansas City being the underdog in this game, I get the sense San Francisco feels that, because look, they are the champs and they feel like they have to grab it from Kansas City.
Yeah, owner Jed York kind of peeled back the curtain a little bit a couple weeks ago about the organization, feeling very strongly about their game manager, Brock Purdy. Kyle Shanahan knew that he was the guy, just in rookie camp, knew he was the best guy. Now here he is on the biggest stage playing in the Super Bowl, and you got to imagine a win today would quiet that noise and the game manager narrative that surrounds Brock Purdy.
No doubt. It would also cap, in my opinion, what is one of the best stories in recent history in the NFL. And talking to Brock this week, one of the things that struck me, and we've seen this over the course of his short career, he's a flatliner. There is nothing that gets this guy rattled. And I asked him, one, how he does it and how he'll do it in this venue with what's on the line. And he talked about his freshman year at Iowa State, and he allowed the game to get too big for him at times. And ever since then, he's developed and trained his mind, Haley, to really, the second he steps on the field, it's like one of those movies where everything fades away around him, all the noise, all the visuals, all the stimuli, and he focuses strictly on 11-on-11 football. And it's not just lip service, because teammates will say in the huddle, he is the same guy throughout the game, no matter success, failure, the noise, whatever it might be. That'll be tested today, though.
Yeah, definitely tested against this Chiefs team who has been here very recently. Of course, there's been rumors about Andy Reid potentially retiring after this one. Now, we know our insider Jonathan Jones shared that an extension is more likely than retirement for Reid. But when you think about how long he's been there, what he's been able to accomplish, just how important has he been to this Kansas City Chiefs story in the last few years?
He's been everything. Look, it's a player's game, and Patrick Mahomes is the driving force to the success this organization has had. But don't forget, Andy Reid set a foundation here way before Patrick Mahomes arrived, and that's still the same foundation and culture that exists that's allowed this team to become this era's, at least up to this point, the new version of New England. So Andy Reid, when we met with him early in the week, he's a guy who's still so energized by the game, the preparation, the minutia, all the little things. And he brought up his parents and when they retired, and they mentioned that, it's time. And he flat out said to us, it's not time.
It is not time. We will keep our eye on it as we get closer to kickoff. Evan Washburn joining us live from the stadium. Evan, thank you so much. We appreciate it. It's almost here, guys. Kickoff coming at 6:30. We've got continued coverage here on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. So stay with us as we keep you getting ready for the big game. Well, coming up, one of the best offensive linemen in the game out for this one. So how do the Chiefs plan to replace Joe Thuney? A conversation with Kyle Long on the other side.
Awkward question. Is there going to be anything
left over?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
My kids don't know what they want. You know who knows what she wants? Me!
With Empower, we get all of our financial questions answered,
So you don't have to worry.
Empower. What's next?
Hold on. 3, 2, 1. Surprise! Cause in a moment, everything
It's yours now.
it's little moments that make a lifetime.
During football's biggest event, DoorDash will DoorDash stuff from all the ads, all to one winner. Just look for the promo code on the big day for a chance to win it all. DoorDashAllTheAds.com.
To all the dads, the funny ones, the silly ones, the strong ones, the adventurous ones. To all the dads held in captivity by Hamas for over 120 days, we vow to bring you home.
This looks like an actual farm.
It looks cute on the app.
Eyes the by the build the boats, and eyes the by the sailor, eyes the by the catch the fish and take them home alive.
Meanwhile, at a Verbo, when other vacation rentals aren't what they're cracked up to be.
Is she?
Playing with the confidence of a pro and getting all up in that grass as if she doesn't have allergies. Yeah.
Nice.
I rode the market to the moon.
And back. Then I met with my TurboTax expert.
I'll make all your investments count. The gains and losses, all filed with 100% accuracy. Intuit TurboTax.
Always dry scoop before you run.
The zero effort workout will have you jacked.
Listen to me. The hot dog diet got me shredded.
Keep your mouth shut. You'll sleep better.
The world is full of health experts. It's time we listen to science. One-A-Day is formulated with B vitamins to help convert food into fuel. One-A-Day, science that matters.
Keep your eye on the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line today. No Joe Thuney in the lineup. Despite his best efforts to get on the field, he was ruled out of the game with a pectoral injury and has since been placed on IR ahead of tonight's game. So with Thuney off the 53-man roster, the Chiefs were able to open up a spot for running back Jerick McKinnon. And here's a look at the projected starting five for KC. Nick Allegretti's expected to get the left guard start in the Super Bowl there in Thuney's place. Three-time Pro Bowler and CBS Sports NFL analyst Kyle Long spoke with the Chiefs offensive line ahead of the game.
God, I wish I was going to war with you guys. I'm with some champs right here. I mean, could we have gotten a better looking group of men? Probably. Welcome to the O-line. This season, you had high hopes and it started the wrong way against the Detroit Lions. Trey, talk to me about that. When you're going to play the Detroit Lions and you say, our best wasn't good enough today.
Yeah, you know, coming off a Super Bowl win, obviously you're the champs. And when you go at home, first game, first opener for the NFL, you lose it, it's obvious disappointment. But at the end of the day, we understood that everyone's going to give us their best shot. We just regrouped, refocused. We knew we had a long season ahead. You can't look at one game and just let that negate the whole season. We just knew we had to keep going, keep coming to work, and just keep doing our thing. And then look where we're at.
Obviously, you guys have the most important job in America. That's protecting Patrick Mahomes. And I think one thing that people lose sight of is how physical that quarterback is. What does it mean to you when you see the greatest football player on earth making plays like that for his team?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, you know that when he takes off running, he's got an incredible awareness of
where all other 21 guys are on the field, he wants every single yard, especially in the playoffs. Every yard counts, every first down counts, so he's getting everything he can.
We're tasked with a huge job for sure. You're protecting the best quarterback in the league, the best player in the league, but they brought in the right guys in this room to do that. It's a fun group, like you said, goofy, but when we get on the field and we put the helmets on, those switches flip.
I had an old coach who told me, if you hit somebody with 5 fingers open like this, it won't hurt that bad. Well, you guys remind me of a fist. And when all 5 of you are together, and sometimes 6 with Nick Allegretti, this unit, in my opinion, is the most physical group in the National Football League. And I want to ask you guys about Nick, because obviously Nick Allegretti has the trust of Andy Heck. How did that happen?
True professional is what I say.
True pro.
On top of everything, top to bottom, quick with the answers, he's smart, and then just his physical gift out there on the field, what he's been able to bring to us on the field. You've seen that, and he's done that multiple times, and I think he even scored a touchdown.
You are the Swiss Army knife for this Kansas City offense, aren't you? And you touched on the physicality. When you hear a play call and you see Isaiah Pacheco in there, what are you guys thinking when you know he's going to get the ball?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a physical play. We know that. He's going to be going full speed every time. Whenever we see our running back fighting for extra yards, we feed off of that. So if there's a pile around him, he's still trying to get extra yards. You're seeing 5 guys flying in there pushing the pile every time.
I think Creed hit on it and said the best. We feed off each other's energy. At the end of the day, you mess with my brother, you're messing with me. We're all coming together, and we're coming to attack you.
And what is it about this San Francisco group that excites you to go play them?
They're very physical up front, have a very great front seven. They have great guys on the back end as well. So, we definitely got a tall task ahead of us, but, we just got to go prepare and try to get us a win.
And the room's tight, you guys. I mean, some of you have been to multiple Super Bowls. Some of you guys have won a few rings. Obviously, what's different for you guys this time around?
We got to go get back-to-back. That's a huge thing, a huge goal that we have. It's a very elite group of teams that have been able to accomplish that, and we had a shot to do it a couple years ago, didn't get it done. We got a shot to do it again, and we got to go get it done.
That offensive line with quite the task in today's game. Super Bowl 58, just about 2 hours away. I think we're under that 2-hour mark at this point. But keep it locked on CBS as we continue to get you ready for the big game. Vegas and betting go together like PB&J, so there's going to be some major money moves happening today. We're headed back to Vegas after the break to help you win big in the biggest game of the year.
Were you worried the wedding would be too much?
Nah.
Another destination wedding. We just got back from our sisters in Napa.
Who gets married in Napa? My daughter. Who gets married someplace more? Expensive. My other daughter, Cancun, Jamaica. Why can't they use my back?
With Empower, we get all our financial questions answered, so we don't have to worry.
Can we get out of here?
I thought you'd never ask.
Join 18 million Americans and take control of your financial future with the real-time dashboard and real-live conversations.
Empower. What's next?
We turned M&M's peanut butter into diamonds to give Super Bowl runners-up a ring of comfort.
I've got an idea. What if we keep the diamonds and offer words of comfort to players instead?
Nah, we want diamonds.
If you're finally ready to take a trip without the kids, why stay at a hotel with more kids? Get an Airbnb and get a place to yourself.
Greetings happen.
Hi, cutie.
The best night of the week happens.
We are having taco night.
Dance parties happen.
Hey.
Yeah, that's not good happens.
Hey, put that down.
Big moments happen.
I got into UC Davis.
Home happens. Be there with Ring. Learn more at ring.com.
This is adventure on your own terms, where you can protect our nation's future while never missing out on the moments you live for. It's everything you love about the Navy, plus everything else you just love. America's Navy Reserve.
Marathon knows that fans are the true co-pilot of any team. So for every grill master, all-star athlete, and face paint fixer, Marathon is here to keep you and your team fueled. Because we're driven together.
When's he gonna be here?
It's late. Do you think we could get some boba? What's boba? Who knows?
Getting him to brush is no longer a chore. The sink is overflowing onto the floor. Luckily, American Home Shield is there to fix or replace covered parts of appliances and home systems to help you stay on course and budget. Sign up today at ahs.com.
CBS Sports HQ, we are up to the minute. Breaking news. Taylor Swift has arrived to Allegiant Stadium as we're just north of 2 hours before kickoff. We talked a lot about Travis Kelce's props, but what about Taylor Swift's props, or ones that are connected to Travis Kelce? Our CBS Sports HQ set is from the fountains of the Bellagio as we get ready for Super Bowl 58. Las Vegas and Sin City residents getting ready to host its first Super Bowl in what we anticipate will be the first of many out here in the desert. Once again, I'm Tommy Tran, this time now joined by Todd Furman and Emery Hunt. Guys, let's talk about player prompts here because there's a nice menu to choose from as we near kickoff. And Todd, you've got some like classified information. You got the little betting sheet.
I got the full book. I got the full book here. I mean, I went all the way through college, and I'm not sure I read books this long that we have to comb through. And thankfully, we've done it all week long and saved the best for last. Right?
Yeah, you guys have done a lot of work talking about this work. Yeah, and Wesley, and I'm not sure if they had that kind of great information and studious things.
Well, hey, it was a different education I was getting on campus in Middletown, Connecticut. We'll leave it at that.
Let's talk about the quarterbacks here. Top player pops here for Super Bowl 58. You guys both have a Brock Purdy prop that you want to pass along. Emery, I'll have you start first. What do you got for us here?
I like his rushing yardage total. I like him going over that number. For me, I feel like people underestimate how talented or how good of an athlete Brock Purdy is. So when you think about him running the football, they're going to try to pressure him. They're going to try to flush him outside the pocket. He does a great job of getting outside, creating with his legs. 12.5 yards is a very low number for a guy that can really pick up that in one carry. So I like him to go over that rushing prop. They're going to need his legs today.
You going Brock too?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Brock here. I thought the Patrick Mahomes numbers, Tommy, I know we've talked about them all week long, were priced relatively close to where they needed to be and didn't see a whole heck of a lot of opportunity. So for me, it's about Brock Purdy, and it's part of the game script. I'm going to go under 30.5 pass attempts for Brock Purdy. I think when you look at the 49ers and what they're going to do in this particular game, it's about establishing the ground game, getting Christian McCaffrey going. And yes, Brock Purdy's going to have a couple of chances to make some big plays, but I just don't see a path where he has to be a high-volume passer. You look at the strength of this Chiefs team, and it starts in that secondary. L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, what they can do with their linebackers in coverage as well. So for me, workman-like performance, 19 to 26, somewhere around there feels about right. I'm going to take Brock Purdy under his passing attempts here, mainly because I don't think the 49ers are going to be playing from a negative game script.
So both of you have chosen Brock Purdy for your quarterback prop. Now, you have not chosen the same player for the running back prop. Todd, where are you going?
So everyone wants to talk about the starting running backs, Christian McCaffrey. They want to talk about Isaiah Pacheco. But let's go a little bit further down the depth chart for a player that, quite frankly, I'm not sure he's going to get any touches in this game, and that's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I'm going to take him under 6.5 rushing yards. You look at what he's done this postseason, and the reality of it is Edwards-Helaire went over his number when they were bleeding clock against the Dolphins, ripped off a big gain against the Buffalo Bills, but against the Baltimore Ravens, where the contest was played in a narrow window, he didn't have the workload here, and for a guy that I think may get one carry tops, I'm willing willing to pay the price, Emery, that he's not going to go for 7 yards on a 3rd and 17 coming out of the draw.
That's a good call right there. I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey because I love these total props, because when you think about the type of back you're talking about someone that can get it done on both ends of offense, running the football, catching the football. 128.5 is a big number, but if we were looking at this from a traditional tailback perspective, I would go under. But we're looking at this from a total perspective, and you're talking about one of the best Swiss Army knives in football in Christian McCaffrey. 70 rushing, 70 passing. I can see that receiving. I can see that happening for him. Again, big game situation. We're going to need that from him if you're San Francisco today.
Moving on to the wide receivers, both of you, I believe, are bullish on Deebo Samuel today, Todd.
That's good. I like sharing a brain with Emery because I know he is a little more optimistic when it comes to player performance in games like this. But this is one of the opportunities I did find to go over a player total with Deebo Samuel, and I'll go over 58.5. I mean, we've talked at great lengths all week long about this 49ers receiving core and someone that's going to have to step up. If I don't think Brandon Ayuk is going to be a high-volume receiver, I think Deebo Samuel is the one poised to be the guy to break out. They're going to line him up in the backfield. They're going to create those one-on-one matchups for him. And I think when you look at this Kansas City defense, the middle of the field is the area you can exploit. Run Brandon Ayuk to take L'Jarius Sneed away from the fray. Deebo will operate underneath, and I think he's got an excellent chance to exceed oddsmakers' expectations. I'll take him over 58.5. I think he's much healthier this week than he was in the NFC title game.
That's a good call because I'm taking him over his rushing yardage total of 16.5, and I think that's a low number for Deebo Samuel in this situation because we know the attention will be on Christian McCaffrey and what he does running the football, but Deebo Samuel on these little tap passes or maybe some end arounds or even just straight handoffs, he does a great job of not only getting downfield, but he falls forward. So it may take him 3 carries to get this number, but I do feel like in this game, he will get those carries, he will get those touches, and he will definitely find those yards.
Let's get to the aforementioned Travis Kelce, who is the most popular player in terms of props, and Taylor Swift probably has a little bit to do with that as well. And he's also a good player. Don't want to diminish any of that stuff for 87 there. When you guys talk about Travis Kelce, you guys are playing him differently and in different markets there with the props. Todd, where are you going here?
So Travis Kelce, of course, you know the storylines. We know the narrative. We saw the lead-in with Taylor Swift, and it's part of the reason that Travis Kelce has created all sorts of liability in the MVP market. I'm not sure that's necessarily just football bettors as more as it is Swiftie Nation out there in full force. But for me, I said it all week long that I was going to look to go under with Travis Kelce and his receiving yards. The numbers got to a point on game day where I think we have a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm going to take him under 71.5. When you look at what Travis Kelce did against this 49ers defense, albeit one that was orchestrated by a different defensive coordinator 4 years ago, 6 catches, 43 yards, did find the end zone. Travis Kelce, for me, isn't the same deep threat going down the field that we've grown accustomed to at this point in his career. And if you're the 49ers, you're going to make anybody else not wearing that number 87 jersey beat you as far as the skill positions are concerned for the Chiefs. So Kelce may have a big day catching footballs, but I'm going to take him under his yardage number. I just don't see him going north of 70 plus.
You just said he'll have a big day catching the football because that's exactly where I'm going.
He can catch 7 and save 50 yards. I'm perfectly fine with that.
We're in lock unison on that one, right?
Works.
So I do think he'll catch over 6.5 receptions, right? Because this is a one-game situation. Go down with the ship. Both of these coaches do a great job of giving their best players the football and going down with their best players carrying the football team. 7 catches for Travis Kelce in a big game. You got to look at it like this. Think of Travis Kelce in this matchup on this day as an extension of the run game. So what's the best way to help ease up that box for Isaiah Pacheco to run the football? Short, quick passes, Travis Kelce. Help him keep the sticks, keep the chains, stay ahead of the chains. And that's where I think Kansas City will try to find some offense. So he will be used like a guy that's going to be an extension of the run game. They're going to get him the football quickly, so dumping him off. So I think he goes over.
Hey, look, I'm perfectly fine with 3.6 yards per catch for Travis Kelce.
Exactly.
That works right in my wheelhouse.
Gets both of you guys home there. I'm being told in my ear that the over-under Taylor Swift references in the broadcast at 4.5. Would you guys go under? You would think under, Emery?
I think under. She just got in town. She is tired.
Here, well, hold on a second here. She looks about as fresh as a daisy flying halfway around the world. We've all been working all week. We may look a little bit tired, but this game is on our network. Don't we at least have a connection to the booth? This should be the easiest prop we get to cash one way or another compared to anything that's there. But I think Kansas City's playing from behind, so if you don't get those Taylor Swift visuals early, you may not get them at all today.
And we may nearly hit that already on CBS Sports HQ, showing Taylor Swift 2 times already here in the pregame show, right?
Just in this block.
Yeah, just in the book of CBS Sports HQ. Special teams, defensive player props here. We're talking about defense/kickers. So, Emery, I'm going to have you start first, only because I've heard of the Harrison Butker prop from Todd like 7 times this week already.
Are these skill position players, by the way, Emery?
Yes,
the final
they are
chance.
skill.
Okay.
We're talking IDP for your fantasy folks out there. These are skill players, right? But I do like Chris Jones. And here's the thing. You're dealing with 2 athletic quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, we know he's very tough to sack. And we also know that Brock Purdy, while he'll get sacked, he's also very tough to sack. And I think the only way they get a sack is with Chris Jones, who does a great job of rushing at any one of the techniques across the defensive line. I believe his sack will come over the guard, over the center, because he's quick off the ball. He'll whip the guard or center anytime he does, and he'll be able to get in the backfield with that quick pressure and get Brock Purdy down. I don't see anybody going over 4.5 the total sacks for the entire game, but Chris Jones, I think, will get a sack today.
So, speaking of kickers, Harrison Butker, 1.5, right? That's what we're doing.
I mean, do we want to go through a geography lesson and everything else? Here's a fun fact for you. Today will mark the highest elevation for a Super Bowl in the illustrious 58-year history of the game, playing at north of about 2,000 feet above sea level. So, of course, I want to back a kicker, kicking in relatively thin air in some capacity. When you look at Harrison Butker, he is the X factor. A lot more confidence in him and his ability. When they get inside of his range, which is 60 and on in, Andy Reid not the most aggressive when it comes to 4th down tendencies, and I think it works out in our favor that if you do get a 4th and intermediate inside the 35-yard line, they're not going to hesitate to send Butker out there. He has been perfect this year on 50-plus yard field goals. I'm going to take him over 1.5, and Tommy, we've done this all week long. I was going to drum it into your head one way or another, and we may as well finish on a high note.
I can't wait to get to a watch party later and just tell everybody, hey, I took Harrison Butker 1.5 field goals. You riding with me, or what are we doing here?
It's just like sitting at the dice table, being the guy betting don't pass. You sit in the corner, you watch everybody else lose your money, you quietly grab your chips, and you're not going to make any apologies when you go to the casino
just enjoy
cashier.
the beverage in the game as it is. Speaking of kickers, by the way, FanDuel partnering up with Rob Gronkowski once again. He has an opportunity to maybe do what he wasn't able to do last year. Todd, Emery, what are we thinking about Gronk's chances today?
Look, I mean, it's perfect kicking conditions there. He's kicking on AstroTurf, Emery. If Gronk can't make the kick this year, he's never going to make it.
It's in Vegas, and is early in the day in Vegas. He's missing that kick. That kick may go out to Utah.
The early edge will have you covered ahead of Super Bowl 58, just like we are getting you ready for Super Bowl 58. Scan that QR code or check them out on YouTube. All right, we're going to take a break here on CBS Sports HQ. I'm going to step aside for the franchise. Chris Hassel will be joining you, getting you ready and leading up to kickoff for Niners and Chiefs.
Hilton honors sleighs.
Points for a free stay? Yes, please.
All these perks. Worst living.
When you want the celebrity treatment, no matter.
You're right. Came in too hot.
Told you I was right.
Should we call a tow truck?
A tow truck? Man, you built like a tow truck. Just go get it.
Yeah. Pull my oikos.
Those are show muscles. I'll show you muscles.
Buy me new pants, show muscles. Take your oikos, little man.
Protein packed to help build strong muscles.
You crazy.
I do anything. Hill's Science Diet puppy food has the nutrients your pup needs. And now at PetSmart, get 4,000 treats points when you spend $50 or more on Hill's Science Diet. PetSmart. Anything for pets.
And the first rule of marketing, never do the same thing twice.
Gronk, I gotta do the kick of destiny again.
What?
But this time, fans can pick if I'll make or miss for $10 million.
Interesting.
And right now, new customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win.
Let's do it.
Wait, were we gonna use the new guy this year?
Should I go?
I'm doing the kick again.
You're gonna miss, Gronk!
Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. The Kick of Destiny 2, live Super Bowl Sunday. Make your free pick now on FanDuel.
We love our house.
Great location, quiet street.
The garage is a bit of a black hole.
Yeah, everything disappears in the...
She'll be back.
Hon, we gotta clean this place out.
See my winter coat in there? You can't hear me.
Ugh, the coat is hideous. Oh, my summer jams mix.
At least Geico makes bundling a home and car insurance easy. Saves us a ton. You find my box of cords?
Okay, honey, throw me the hose.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Kirby.
The union of fruity sweet gummy and tangy crunchy Nerds. Nerds Gummy Clusters. Unleash your senses.
You were made to act spontaneously. We were made to help plan accordingly.
Are you comfortable? Absurdly comfortable. At Bombas, we're obsessed with comfort, quality, movement. Socks, tees, underwear. Because your basic things should be your best things. As always, one purchased equals one donated. Visit bombas.com and get 20% off your first order.
It is Super Bowl Sunday, and we have the answer to one of the most searched for questions of the day.
That question is, how do I stream the Super Bowl? It's easy. First step, just download the Paramount Plus app, which looks like this. Once you're logged in, look for the Chiefs-Niners match tile. Don't worry, it'll be front and center and look like this. Have a cable subscription? You can watch the Super Bowl that way as well by downloading the CBS Sports app and then clicking on the Super Bowl tile that looks like this. Enjoy the Super Bowl and stick around postgame for live extended coverage of the game on CBS Sports HQ. CBS Sports HQ live from Vegas, presented by United Airlines, and we are now within 2 hours of kickoff. Christian McCaffrey, a popular pick to be the first running back to win Super Bowl MVP since Terrell Davis a generation ago, 1997 season. Joined now by Todd Furman and Emery Hunt as we get some more picks for you here on HQ. This is the best weather day of the entire week. Doesn't matter. Game's being played indoors. But let's go with exotic props. A lot of people looking forward to watching the commercials tonight, Emery. And you actually have a commercial prop for us.
Yes, I thought this was rather easy, right? The first commercial was between BMW and Coors Light. This is a Super Bowl. You know what everybody's going to be doing at kickoff? Drinking. Coors Light is the first commercial out the gate, in my opinion. Book it.
I mean, look, Emery's going outside the box, and I applaud that effort. I went exotics, but I stuck within the framework of the game plan to try and look at some of the unique offerings that FanDuel has available for a game like this. And I found myself landing on the 49ers to have more time of possession in the game than the Kansas City Chiefs. When you look at San Francisco, this is a team that does have a little bit more in the way of big plays in their arsenal, but I think they have to be judicious with the football, methodical, allow Brock Purdy to take what the defense gives him. And one of the things that we've seen from this Chiefs defense all year is their ability to prevent some of those big plays. It's the best one we've seen from Andy Reid, and they've done things on a historic level that we haven't seen from the Chiefs since the late 90s. So the 49ers are going to play keep away, keep old Patty Mahomes on the sideline, and I'm willing to lay $1.15 to try and do so, Hassel.
Emery also has a Gatorade prop. Is that what you're giving away with your outfit there? Is that the color that you're going to pick?
Actually, Chris and Todd, this is called Brick. So
do we have a Brick Gatorade?
We don't have a Brick Gatorade
catalog just yet.
But we do have America's favorite flavor, red.
Yeah.
Exactly. Doesn't matter what flavor red is. If you tell someone red, they're all in, right? So that's going to be the Gatorade color that we're going to see after at the post game. No one likes purple. No one likes orange. Orange is okay, but red is the best flavor not color, that we'll see.
See, here's something interesting. And, we do the homework on a lot of these markets. You try and figure out where you can find an angle. Heard a former player this morning talking about the color of Gatorade, saying that, look, the league doesn't want red and orange for the team wearing white jerseys because the last thing you want to do is send those jerseys to Canton with a stain or have that. So they're more likely to have the blue or the purple or even the clear that it doesn't stain. So when you have the red jerseys on, you're afforded a wealth of options that are there. Just the little things the league is trying to make sure when they get their ducks in a row.
Is this in this book that you bought? There's all these nuggets you bought?
No, it's
impressive.
This book just
makes sense what you just said.
This book just has a lot of different numbers in here, and I'd be lying if I said I bet half the props that were in this thing. So,
Todd, you got a lot of punting props this week.
I mean, look, punters are people too, Chris.
I'm well aware as an Iowa guy.
I've done. Well, that's what I was going to say. We're going to just play it like CFL football, start punting on third downs to make sure that Spencer Petras and company don't turn it over. But yeah, I mean, we have seen sharp money on both punters, both Mitch Wisniewski, and of course I'll butcher it as I say punters are people. And Tommy Townsend have taken money over their prop numbers. We saw those open up in the mid-50s. They're up about 2.5 yards for each player.
Chiefs to punt before scoring at -112 is one of those exotic picks from Todd Furman. The line moved again. It is now back to 2.5. Todd, what do you make of this?
Look, we talked all week long about when that book liability was going to accumulate to a point where they had to start moving in the favor of Kansas City. And what we've seen, FanDuel got as low as 1.5, and you started to see a little bit more professional money come in from the 49ers. But what I think is so fascinating about this game, and I can't speak to FanDuel's book of business, but spoke to a couple shops out here in the desert, and they've told me about 3 out of every 4 tickets from an ATS standpoint are coming in on the Kansas City Chiefs. The money line scenario even more lopsided, and there are rumblings for the great, beautiful property behind us in the MGM Grand family that they have substantial liability to 49ers future. So it's always a cat and mouse game. You want to monitor the movement, but I think it's much ado about nothing, knowing that we're not on key numbers because we're not getting a 3 for this game.
The over-under rather has come down as well to 46.5. You guys have your picks for the game. Does that 1 point change it at all for you if you're on San Francisco?
It doesn't on the side because I was inclined to back the 49ers on the money line with a little bit of a discount there, but it does for the total. When you look at the total market and you go, there are key numbers from an over-under perspective. The 2 most important for me, 47 and 44 in this range. Coming below the 47, it would put me on the sidelines as somebody who wanted to make a case for the under. So please shop around. If you're betting it under, 47 has to be your cutoff. I actually think you'll see a little bit of an appetite for an over-better.
And you like 49ers money line and the under. Emery, what are you on?
I like the money line of 49ers as well, and I like the under, even with the full point dropping down, because I still feel like it's going to be 24-20 San Francisco. Nip and tuck throughout the first half, and then we'll see a bit of a point explosion in those middle 8 of the back end 4 of the second quarter, first 4 of the third quarter. Then things get back to a tightly contested matchup throughout. So I like this one going under.
One thing that's interesting is when you look at the Chiefs and the way that they have played this year, they've been one of the best second half under teams in the entire league, and they've been even more dynamic in the fourth quarter when it comes to scoring. So let's see. The 49ers have made a habit of digging themselves a hole. I'm not sure this is a game where they're going to want to try and erase a double-digit deficit with number 15 staring at them across the sidelines.
It is time for Best Bets with Todd and Emery, and it's Todd, it's one you mentioned earlier on in the week. Brandon Ayuk is a popular pick to maybe be one of those guys to score the first touchdown, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to make a lot of catches out there. Over-under's 4.5.
And you mentioned it. We saw him with the most impactful play against the Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship. He finished with a stat line of 3 catches for 68 yards, and 51 of those came with a little compliment to the Detroit Lions defensive back in that situation. You look at the matchup that Ayuk is going to draw against this Chiefs secondary, and I think L'Jarius Sneed could be in his hip pocket from start to finish. Ayuk's the player that can take the lid off of the defense, but I also don't think Kyle Shanahan is going to try and force the ball into him if it's not there. So while I do think Ayuk can have a big impact and maybe finish with a touchdown in this game, I just don't see him being a high volume receiver. So I'm going to take him under 4.5 receptions as my best bet, and I'm happy, Chris, to lay the $1.40 to do so.
Emery, what's your best bet?
I love the under still. I feel like they're going to come
even at 46.5.
Even at 46.5, because in the first quarter we're probably going to see 2 possessions. I think we'll see both teams go these long sustained drives. They'll come away with points. Kansas City may come away with a field goal. San Francisco will probably punch it in, but then we'll start to see things kind of open up. The first 15 plays, we know teams love the script. Second quarter, we'll see a little bit more points from both teams, but then in the third quarter, adjustments come. Defense will reign supreme. team and who will make the biggest mistake. So I do like the under still to be in play despite dropping a full point at this juncture.
It was fun last night, the 58 picks for Super Bowl 58 from our sports line folks. Todd Furman and Emery Hunt here giving us some picks as we near the 90-minute mark to kickoff here on this spectacular Sunday in Vegas. Sportsline weekdays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time with Emery, Katie, EK, and everybody else. Coming up, we've got much more, but right now, how about some picks from our staff for the game?
All right, Vegas, Super Bowl 58. I have to go Patrick Mahomes. Final score, 27-24. He gets it done at another Super Bowl MVP.
We've all seen it. There's a Chiefs Kingdom flag buried underneath Allegiant Stadium. Mahomes and the Chiefs, they're going to win it 30-27.
Christian McCaffrey will be the MVP, and the 49ers will win this game 27-23.
My Super Bowl prediction is the Chiefs winning 20-17, and we get more Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce content on the field. Let's go.
I got to go with my guys. Niners are going to win it. Let's go 31-13, and MVP is going to follow this guy right here, Brock Purdy.
Christian McCaffrey, he'll probably have, let's say, 3 rushing touchdowns. Maybe one of those is receiving. You know where I'm going, guys. Let's go Niners.
I have to go with the better quarterback, the better defense, and the better head coach, which means I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs.
Rinse and repeat. The Chiefs run it back and become the first team to repeat as Super Bowl champs since the 2003-2004 Patriots.
Travis Kelce, 2 touchdown receptions and MVP honors as the Chiefs beat the 49ers 31-17.
Give me the San Francisco 49ers over the Chiefs 27-17 because the night in football belongs to SF and the night in music belongs to Usher, that way and that way only.
I'm not betting against Patrick or Mahomes. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this game 27-23.
The Kansas City Chiefs will win another Super Bowl. Travis Kelce is in his MVP era. I think he will be the MVP of Super Bowl 58.
You already know what it is. Give me the San Francisco 49ers CMC for MVP.
Patrick Mahomes throws for 304 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the Chiefs win 31-20, just like they did in Super Bowl 54.
Kansas City Chiefs have one thing going for them, and that is Patrick Mahomes. He and Travis Kelce managed to flick the proverbial switch. Travis Kelce, 3 touchdowns, 3 different Taylor Swift celebrations, 1 Super Bowl MVP.
I've got the Kansas City Chiefs winning a tight one, 27-24, and of course, Patrick Mahomes wins the MVP.
Not only do I have Taylor Swift making it to Las Vegas in time for the Japan leg of her Eras Tour, in time to see her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, I have his team beating the 49ers 27-21.
In this sport and this game, it's about quarterback play and coaching. Give me the Chiefs. Big.
It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes winning another Super Bowl. It's going to be late game drive to win it, not to tie it with a field goal, to win it with a touchdown.
I lean San Francisco. They're favored for a reason, but let me tell you, if you love a teaser, take Kansas City up to 8 or 8.5. And I also pair that with the total, bump that baby up to the 50s, and it should be a low-scoring game.
The San Francisco 49ers get it done, 31-27.
Give me Kansas City winning 23-17.
I can't pick against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, maybe I'm a sucker. I can't do it.
I'm going to go 49ers in CMC as MVP.
I have Travis Kelce winning MVP, and the Swifties will go wild.
We are in store for a classic Super Bowl. Chiefs 24, 49ers 23.
My final score, Chiefs 24, San Francisco 17.
Everyone on set seems to want to make a case for the mighty underdog in Patrick Mahomes. I'm taking a different approach. It's the 49ers for me in a low-scoring game.
I'm keeping it pretty simple. I'm going with the Chiefs. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair, 20-17.
I stated it earlier this year. I'm going bang, bang, Niner gang. Give me the 49ers, and Christian McCaffrey will be the MVP.
I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes. I've done it twice already in the postseason and have been wrong, so I'm not going to make that mistake again.
I'm going to side with the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl as an underdog.
I'm going to take the 49ers to win the game. I will have Brock Purdy as the MVP to cap a storybook kind of made-for-TV Hallmark movie even, where you're the last pick in the draft and you go all the way to the Super Bowl MVP.
This is a story that makes everyone cry.
Laugh cry, ugly cry, and definitely totally not cry. But it's okay. You can always blame it on the altitude.
DoorDash can DoorDash pretty much anything. So this year during football's biggest event, DoorDash will DoorDash stuff from all the ads. All to one winner. All the snacks. Every automobile. A tax service. And who knows what else. We haven't fully thought this thing through yet. Just look for the promo code on the big day for a chance to win it all. DoorDashAllTheAds.com.
We turned M&M's peanut butter into diamonds to give Super Bowl runners-up a ring of comfort.
I've got an idea. What if we keep the diamonds and offer words of comfort to players instead?
Nah, we want diamonds.
To all the dads. The funny ones. The silly ones. The strong ones. The adventurous ones. To all the dads held in captivity by Hamas for over 120 days, we vow to bring you home.
This looks like an actual farm.
It looks cute on the app.
Eyes the by the do the boats, and eyes the by the sailor, eyes the by the catch the fish, and take them home alive.
Meanwhile, at a Verbo, when other vacation rentals aren't what they're cracked up to be, try one where you know what you'll get.
I just learned I'm losing my hair.
I feel the same way.
I have ED. When something is off, it can feel hard to hide. Get connected with medical professionals who create personalized treatments for you at hims.com.
To some updated headlines this Sunday. We'll start in the NBA. Miami Heat star Jimmy Butler is taking a leave of absence after the death of a family member, according to a statement from his agent on Sunday. It's unclear when he will return. After today's game versus the Celtics, the Heat have 2 more games this week until the All-Star break. Elsewhere, the Philadelphia Eagles have granted edge rusher Hassan Reddick permission to seek a trade. That's according to NFL Network. Reddick, who led Philly with 11 sacks this season, has 1 year left on the $45 million contract he signed back in 2022. Meanwhile, 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady set to become a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, according to the NFL Network. Brady's investment was altered to reflect the proper value of the Raiders. His group is expected to purchase around 10% of the franchise. And in soccer news, Real Madrid star Jude Bellingham will be sidelined for 3 weeks due to a high ankle sprain. The English international was injured Saturday in La Liga action. The club will have to be without their leading scorer when the round of 16 of the Champions League begins later this week against Red Bull Leipzig. George Kittle versus Travis Kelce. It's the tight end matchup of our wildest dreams. But does one have an edge in this one? We're back to discuss next on HQ.
This is a story that makes everyone cry. Laugh cry and ugly cry and definitely totally not cry. But it's okay. You can always blame it on the altitude.
America the Beautiful. There's so much to see. Start your adventure at Fair Oaks during the President's Day sales event. From sea to shining sea, over the hills, across the plains, through the mountains, there's a new Jeep just right for you at Fair Oaks. Lease a new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 2-row Laredo 4x4. Just $379 a month. Hurry before this offer ends. Visit Fair Oaks Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today.
Hey, that's great. But who are the chefs?
Rookie mistake?
Great googly moogly.
Maybe you just need a Snickers.
When's he gonna be here?
It's late.
Do you think we could get some boba?
What's boba?
Who knows?
Perfect somewhere.
Is she?
Playing with the confidence of a pro and getting all up in that grass as if she doesn't have allergies. Yeah.
Nice.
You were made to act spontaneously. We were made to help plan accordingly.
Let's begin, shall we?
This is Apple TV Plus, the streaming service with something for everyone.
Let's go!
New releases every week, the best movies, shows, and so much more. You can watch it on all the devices you already own.
Here we go.
Start streaming now.
It is Super Bowl Sunday, and we have the answer to one of the most searched for questions of the day.
That question is, how do I stream the Super Bowl? It's easy. First step, just download the Paramount Plus app, which looks like this. Once you're logged in, look for the Chiefs-Niners match tile. Don't worry, it'll be front and center and look like this. Have a cable subscription? You can watch the Super Bowl that way as well by downloading the CBS Sports app and then clicking on the Super Bowl tile that looks like this. Enjoy the Super Bowl and stick around postgame for live extended coverage of the game on CBS Sports HQ. HQ presented by United Airlines, and I don't know what airline Taylor Swift flew to get here. I'm guessing her own. Yeah. There she is in the box, shown for the second time in the pregame show with Ice Spice and Jason Kelce in the booth as well. Here's a look at Lige Douzable's top 5 tight ends all time, and he has Taylor Swift's boyfriend number 1. Travis Kelce won ahead of Gronk, ahead of Gonzalez. Shannon Sharp back in the day was fantastic, and Antonio Gates I think still has the lead for most touchdowns receiving for a tight end all time. Let's get Lige in here along with Danny. We've already had 17 touchdowns by tight ends this postseason. That's the most in this in history in one postseason. It's a different era for tight ends. Why do you think Kelce's done enough already to be number 1 all time?
Well, DK has. I think it's something to be said when a guy that's on my top 5 list, Shannon Sharp, has publicly come out and said he's the greatest tight end of all time. Let's not forget, in the playoffs, number 1 in receptions by a player, period. Not the tight end position, player, period. Number 2 in receiving yards by a player, period, in the playoffs. And then if you look at what he's had receiving yards, yards, number 4 all time at the tight end position. So what you've seen Travis Kelce do for a decade is dominate. Let's not forget 7 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and the only reason why it wasn't 8 is because he decided to rest in week 18 this year. So he has been dominant since he came into the league, not only with Patrick Mahomes, but with Alex Smith as well. So to me, he's tight end number 1. I know a lot of people say Rob Gronkowski potentially could be tight end number 1. He was playing with a GOAT. Looks like Kelce's playing with a potential GOAT right now, but Travis Kelce is my number 1 tight end of all time.
Yeah, that aspect, you have to throw it out with all, because there's this trios. We got coaches and tight ends and quarterbacks, and they're all tied together, right?
Correct.
And they're all in the conversation for the best of all time in their respective fields. I'm going to say Gronk is the best for a couple different reasons. One, I think there is a little bit of recency bias, trying to just tone it down a little bit, Lige. I was watching some highlights they were going around the other day with Gronk running up and down the field. The other thing, the other thing as well, I do think Gronk was playing in a different era, what was more physical. And I know they kind of overlap careers, but Gronk was younger and was playing at a time and racked up a lot of his yardage and touchdowns when it was more physical, when they weren't protecting the players quite as much as they are now. I think that does have to come into play. Plus, I do think championships have to come into play, and that's where I think you give Gronk the edge. So I'm going to go with Kelce.
But what if Kelce wins this one?
Then I think we can have that conversation.
Okay, I was about to say.
Who do you like in this game?
I do like the 49ers.
Okay, me too. So then there you go. So I'm going to go with Gronk as the GOAT until we see him get past.
I think longevity has a play in this too, because Gronk was beat up in his career too. So the consistency that Travis Kelce has had to play with, I stated it, the 7 straight 1,000-yard seasons, I think you have to factor that in as well.
11 targets, 11 catches last time out for Travis Kelce. Look at that record that they set this postseason, 17 between Mahomes and Kelce. Mahomes this season is 81%
pass-happy
when
league.
targeting Travis Kelce. 81%. How many times should Kelce be targeted today?
I mean, you want to give him the ball as much as possible, but Steve Wilks knows that as well. DK, we were talking earlier in the show, and we were baffled by the game plan of defensive coordinators the first 3 playoff games versus the Chiefs. I mean, this guy could go down as the greatest tight end in NFL history, and they just allowed him free access, especially the Baltimore Ravens, who had a historic type defense, to allow this guy to come off the line of scrimmage and not put hands on him and think that you were going to guard him with one man was arrogant by the Baltimore Ravens. And then we saw the Buffalo Bills. We talked about this too, DK. How do you leave Travis Kelce wide open in the red zone? Like, this guy, again, could go down as one of the greatest tight ends of all time. So Steve Wilks and his defense, they know that Mahomes and Kelce have a real rapport, right? Especially in zone defense. A lot of times they play, freestyle football. I don't even think Mahomes knows where Travis Kelce is going to get up in zone. He just finds a void spot in the zone, and they just hook up really well. So if you're Steve Wilks, you know that they're going to try to get him the ball. But if you're Travis Kelce and Mahomes, you've been dealing with this for the last 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah.
They know how to beat double teams in zone coverage.
You mentioned the chemistry they have, just the ability to put that ball exactly where, Travis Kelce can get it and no one else can. The matchup that was crazy last in the AFC Championship game was when Kyle Hamilton was covering him. They had it dialed up perfectly where he was covered, but Mahomes puts it kind of just behind him. It's a back shoulder kind of throw that's low. And Kelce, most tight ends, they can't bend over that far. They're like a little bit tight,
heck of a catch,
and they can't make it. Kelce can make that catch. So I think they're going to put multiple bodies on him, try to, and bracket coverage, try to put a lot of attention on him and dare those receivers for the Chiefs who aren't, your typical guys that strike fear in you, like a Tyreek Hill, who they used to have, or somebody else. So I think this is a game that they'll try to do their best to take Travis Kelce away.
Yeah, they played 4 years ago. Kelce had 6 catches, fewer than 50 yards, did get in the end zone, but you look at that box score, and Tyreek Hill's at the top. They had those playmakers at the wide receiver position that they just don't have this season. And Jonathan Jones on the pregame show reported no Kadarius Toney in this game. So how do you scheme to get Travis Kelce open?
Well, they did a really good job, and you talked about Kyle Hamilton having them in man coverage. They did more of that in the second half. They did a good job, the Baltimore Ravens, putting hands on him at the line of scrimmage. But Andy Reid, just like Kyle Shanahan, he can scheme it up. So what do they do? Short motion them, put them in bunch sets. So if you do got man coverage, or even if you're playing a back bracket coverage, somebody's getting bumped off, and Travis Kelce is getting open. So that's what Andy Reid will do. He's one of the best, if not the best coach, at making adjustments. When you try to take something away from him, he'll do things to get Travis Kelce open. So I think we'll see a little bit of that. Travis Kelce does a lot of short motion, just like the 49ers, but Travis Kelce finds a way to get open.
Yeah, throw formations at him that they haven't seen before. Try to get those natural rubs, picks, whatever you want to call it. Even if it's zone coverage and they're trying to pass it off and talk, it happens a lot faster. People don't understand how fast that communication has to take place. They do have 2 weeks to prepare for some of those, but I think they're going to throw something new, a new formation that they hadn't seen the last 6 to 8 weeks, and see if they're ready for it.
Since they started this run of AFC Championship games back in 2018, Kelce leads pretty much every statistical category for tight ends, but right behind him is the man that they'll be facing today, George Kittle, second in receptions to Kelce, second in receiving yards to Kelce, and third in receiving touchdowns. Listen, George Kittle might be second to Travis Kelce in a lot of stats on the field, but not when it comes to the microphone. He's always entertaining and a little forthright with Jonathan Jones earlier on this week. Take a listen.
George Kittle, Pro Bowl, All-Pro, All-World tight end.
Ooh, that is your thing, All-World. That's a good one.
What's the season been like for you?
Incredibly challenging, ups and downs, losing 3 games in a row, having to win a lot of games on the road, getting beat up on Christmas Day, not very fun, have to, kind of get back through that. And overall, though, I'm having a great time.
The road so far in the playoffs has been much different than it was in 2019. What's this playoff journey been like?
Completely different road. 2019, we ran the ball 45 times both games.
They are just pounding, run after run after run.
Run it again! Run it again! We weren't really close either time and, kind of cakewalked our way right into the Super Bowl. And this time, everyone's like, you guys can't win from behind. And it's like, okay, well, just to prove that we can, we're going to do the 2 most important games of our season. Just for fun.
With a comeback for the ages, the 49ers are going back to the Super Bowl.
When you do have those games and you can win like that, the bond between you and your teammates grows. When you make big plays together and you get to celebrate together and we finally did it, we finally got in the end zone, those are the moments that make it so special.
So Super Bowl 54, there's a great video of you where you're telling yourself that you're going to be back here.
Yeah.
I will be back here. I will be back here.
What's it like being able to fulfill that promise to yourself?
I'll never take like a playoff run or a Super Bowl for granted just because it's really difficult to get there. And while we have a lot of the, same foundation of parts, we brought a whole bunch of new guys in that are really good football players. And so I'm very excited about the opportunity, but just very thankful, really.
I see you, Mr. Kittle. I can clap for that guy right there. Go like that, brother. I love you, dog. Do your thing, man. See ya.
Do you ever peek over the hedges a little bit over what Travis is doing?
I watch almost every game of Travis. Travis is a guy who's going to be the first ballot Hall of Famer. We just passed Jerry Rice for most catches in postseason. He's a phenomenal football player. So I love watching Travis. I love watching him. I love seeing how his mind works.
Is it a rivalry?
I don't know. I think it's a friendship, and I think we both play the same position, and we play it very differently. And I think we both play it at an elite level.
Nice little interview there with George Kittle. Iowa, great. 49ers Inactives just came out, as did the Chiefs, taking a look at some of, not really any big names, no surprises there. For the Chiefs, yesterday, the big news that Joe Thuney placed on injured reserve. You see Kadarius Toney is inactive, as JJ reported on the pregame show over on CBS earlier on. Joe Thuney, the big name, though, he's not inactive because he was placed on IR yesterday. That opened up a spot for Jerick McKinnon, who was reinstated in a corresponding move. This is kind of what we thought, guys. We really didn't think Thuney was going to be able to play in this game, and they've been able to win without him so far.
Yeah, Nick Allegretti has played really well for them down the stretch, and then he also was part of that run that played this 49ers team, the Tampa Bay Bucks team a few years ago in that COVID run. So he's played a lot of football, had some struggles in the second half against Justin Madubuike. Madubuike is a real special player, but 2 names that weren't on that list for the Chiefs that are big. Jerick McKinnon, a lot of people didn't think he could go. Remember, he has a real rapport in the red zone with Patrick Mahomes coming out of the backfield at the running back position. And Willie Gay, the speed that he brings. Remember, he was supposed to be the spy on Lamar Jackson in the AFC Championship game. It'll be interesting to see now what they do with that rotation and him and Drew Tranquill, especially when you're facing a guy like George Kittle and the skill set that he has. So those are two names that aren't on the inactive list that have been hurt the last few weeks.
Yeah, the Toonie news, no surprise there. Allegretti's got 4 playoff starts under his belt, so he's been in this position before. He's played on the big stage. It's not like you're throwing out some rookie. I know Toonie's a Pro Bowl type player, but I don't think it's that devastating of a loss. And as you said, they've had time to prep for it, so the continuity, I would expect you wouldn't see that much of a drop-off from the offensive line up front.
Only about an hour away now from Super Bowl 58. We have been reporting live from this set since Monday when it was raining. Then the wind came in. Now the sun's out, feeling good as we get ready to head indoors to Allegiant Stadium. CBS's coverage begins at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. That's only 30 minutes away. Also streaming on Paramount Plus, and the game is live on Nickelodeon as well. Kansas City Chiefs in the middle of a dynasty. Where do they rank all time? Pete Prisco put together his list, and they're ahead of a team that might surprise some people. We'll talk dynasties next.
This is a story that makes everyone cry. Laugh cry, ugly cry, and definitely totally not cry. But it's okay. You can always blame it on the altitude.
America the Beautiful. There's so much to see. Start your adventure at Fair Oaks during the President's Day sales event. From sea to shining sea, over the hills, across the plains, through the mountains, there's a new Jeep just right for you at Fair Oaks. Lease a new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 2-row Laredo 4x4. Just $379 a month. Hurry before this offer ends. Visit Fair Oaks Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today.
Do anything. PetSmart carries Hill's Science Diet puppy food with the nutrients your pup needs and the prebiotic blend Active Biome Plus that supports healthy digestion. Anything PetSmart. Anything for pets.
We turned M&M's peanut butter into diamonds to give Super Bowl runners-up a ring of comfort.
I've got an idea. What if we keep the diamonds and offer words of comfort to players instead?
Nah, we want diamonds.
Game day, baby. We got the team, we got the scheme. This year, we're going all the way.
We're going all the way, too. We don't say that.
Sunscreen?
Game day is...
It's mine. The prices blow my mind. I feel so rich. I feel like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire.
Download the Temu app and shop like a billionaire.
From knead the dough to need it now. So many ways to save. Life ready, wallet happy. That's 365 by Whole Foods Market.
HQ presented by United. We are live from Vegas. Patrick Mahomes suited and booted. Chiefs in their red uniforms with his third Super Bowl victory today at the age of 28. That would be right on pace with Tom Brady, who had 3 Super Bowls at the age of 28. But Mahomes has more MVP awards than Brady did at that age. We are broadcasting live from the fountains at the Bellagio and taking a look at Pete Prisco's list of the top 5 NFL dynasties all time. Wow. The Chiefs, before this game, this is going into the game, Not even assuming they're going to win. He already has the Chiefs ahead of the 1990s Cowboys, who have more championships than the Chiefs have right now. Obviously, Patriots at number 1 doesn't split those up, I should say, combined 2000s and 2010s. Steel Curtain Steelers, the Joe Montana, Steve Young 49ers. The one that surprised me as we get Lige and Danny back in here is that he already has them ahead of those Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, that's a surprising thing. And then also the way he combined the 49ers, like the Patriots I can kind of understand just because it was one quarterback, but that run with the 49ers was a little bit surprising.
Steve Young won one of those.
Yeah, so like how do you combine those two when it's two different quarterbacks? But to me, if the Chiefs win this one, I have them tied with the Cowboys. I don't have them surpassing. Let's not forget, the Cowboys won 3 in a 4-year span. So if the Chiefs were to win today, they would do the same thing and accomplish that as well. You can't put them put them up there with Chuck Noll and the Steelers. You can't put them up there with the Patriots. But I think they're vying around that 3rd spot. Thought it was tricky that Pete put the San Francisco team at 3, but I think they'll be tied with the Cowboys if they win this one.
I think he did this list earlier in the week, or maybe last week, and he had him outside. And then all of a sudden, he must be just caught up in all the love we've been giving him. Okay, we're just going to put him in there. I think they do have to win this game in order to enter that category. I mean, you think about Hall of Famers all over the place with Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin on the outside, Jimmy Johnson, one of the better coaches we've seen. I'm okay with the 49ers up there because I think what makes it more impressive is that they did win with 2 quarterbacks in Montana and Steve Young.
Different coaches, too.
And different coaches,
but that's why I say it's 2 different coaches.
But I think that makes it more impressive. The fact they were able to sustain that with turnover at those spots.
I get you.
So right now the Chiefs 4, according to Pete Prisco. We were talking to him about that earlier in the week, and Bryant McFadden was here, and he says he doesn't even consider the Chiefs a dynasty yet. He thinks you need 3 Super Bowls over a short period of span to become a dynasty. So if they lose tonight, is there an argument to be made that they're not in the middle of a dynasty?
No, this is a dynasty. 6 straight AFC Championship games. Are you kidding me? They've been to, 3 Super Bowls out of the last 4 years. That's a dynasty. Even if they were to lose this game, you get 2 rings and 6 straight trips to the championship game. How could you not be considered a dynasty?
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with B-Mac's take. I wouldn't crush them for it if they do lose. I think part of dynasty, by being a dynasty, is winning championships. So if they do end up, losing, I mean, we're looking at the Bills on this graphic right here. They made it to a lot of Super Bowls. They didn't win any of them, so that does give the Chiefs a leg up. But you don't get brownie points just for getting to the game. I think they do have to win this one to keep continuing to call this a dynasty. Thing is, if they won it next year, then they're right back in that conversation. So, but I think it opens it up, makes them a little bit more vulnerable to exit that conversation.
By the way, we only showed the top 5 dynasties all time for Pete Prisco. He actually has the Buffalo Bills at number 6 all time. Sure, they went 4 straight, but they never won it.
But see, that's the question I have, right? So, like, they haven't won a ring, but they went to 4 straight. And if you look at the Chiefs, even if they were to lose this game, to go to 6 straight is ridiculous. And then to win 2 championships, to me, that's a dynasty. I know that the magic number always is 3, and people talk about 3-peats and having 3 rings in regards to a dynasty when a team is collectively together. But the dominance that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have had, this is a dynasty for sure.
It's just remarkable when you think about it just looks easy, right? And it's not. It's one of the hardest things in sports to even get this far. So I understand the argument for getting there, but I do think as we define dynasties, you have to be holding the trophy at the end of the season.
If you had to project forward, like Pete Prisco did earlier this week, when he says he believes Patrick Mahomes can end up with 8 rings and surpass Tom Brady, if you just had to guess, how many titles do you think the Chiefs during this quote-unquote dynasty will end up with?
To me, it comes down to when Andy Reid decides to hang it up. Now, again, will they still have a chance at a championship with Patrick Mahomes? Of course, right? Travis Kelce's going to get older, probably eventually retire. But it seems like the way that Andy Reid has been able to revamp the team, because so many people had questions when Tyreek Hill left, like, what is this team going to look like? All they did was have the #1 offense and win a Super Bowl the very next year. So the way Andy Reid, and I know I had this conversation with Pete, he was like, well, they have Mahomes, they'll still win. Not necessarily, man. When you have the coach putting it all together, the way he's able to get everybody to gel, and the way they've been able to evolutionize this team and change so many different times, I think Andy Reid, depends on how long he stays. I'm not saying Mahomes can't win one without him, but I don't know if he gets to 7 or 8 if, say, Andy Reid leaves after this year or the year after that.
I'm going to say 4 or 5. Yeah. I don't think he catches Tom Brady. I think it's so hard. I mean, also, you have to consider how long Tom Brady played.
Yeah,
he played till he was 45 years old. old and got a couple after the age of 40. I mean, that's insane.
That is insane.
He also dealt with an ACL when he missed an entire season. We haven't seen Patrick Mahomes, thankfully, have to deal with any significant injuries. That's almost inevitable when you think about the sport itself. I also think Travis Kelce's getting up there. Like, he's been such that chemistry we were talking earlier about. He's 34. What happens when he decides to hang it up? Are you going to keep going after that? And just, do you have the desire to play until you're 45? Sure, maybe he gets them before he's 38, but that would be remarkable. And then it's not there.
Pure dominance.
I think the conversation is going to go very similar to the Michael Jordan, LeBron James. I think there's going to be a younger generation that's Patrick Mahomes. When you watch him, he's better. I don't think he has the titles, but I think he'll have the resume to stack up in a lot of individual categories that'll surpass Tom Brady, but not in the Super Bowls.
We are exactly an hour away from kickoff of Patrick Mahomes' 4th Super Bowl appearance in a 5-year span, going for his 3rd ring at the age of 28. You can watch that over on CBS, but over on Pluto TV, they've got exclusive Super Bowl classics streaming on demand until February 21st. You can relive 54 of the best Super Bowls and catch award-winning programs from NFL Films only on Pluto TV. Up next, we continue our pregame coverage here on CBS Sports HQ. Some film breakdown from Lige Douzable. How Brock Purdy uses those legs and how to stop or at least contain Travis Kelce.
This is a story that makes everyone cry. Laugh cry and ugly cry and definitely totally not cry. But it's okay. You can always blame it on the altitude.
And the first rule of marketing, never do the same thing twice.
No! Wrong. I gotta do the kick of destiny again.
What?
But this time, fans can pick if I'll make or miss for $10 million.
Interesting.
And right now, new customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win.
Let's do it.
Wait, weren't we gonna use the new guy this year?
Should I go? I'm doing the kick again. You're gonna miss, Gronk!
Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. The Kick of Destiny 2, live Super Bowl Sunday. Make your free pick now on FanDuel.
The union of fruity sweet gummy and tangy crunchy nerds. Nerds Gummy Clusters. Unleash your senses.
From the makers of the meltiest cheddar shreds of all time, Tillamook presents Block Jams. Shreds so tasty, they inspired this too. Block Jams is not sold in stores, but Tillamook shreds are.
Want big fitness energy without a big investment? Join Planet Fitness. Now through February 16th, save big during the Big Fitness Energy Sale and get energized with a membership that fits your budget. In the judgment-free zone, you can work out when it works for you with most clubs open 24 hours. Never intimidating. Always free fitness training.
File 100% free with TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of taxpayers qualify. Form 1040 and limited credits only. See how at TurboTax.com. That's me!
This is adventure on your own terms, where you can protect our nation's future while never missing out on the moments you live for. It's everything you love about the Navy, plus everything else you just love. America's Navy Reserve.
Time to turn talk into action. Step 1, fire up your BetMGM Sportsbook. Step 2, make your pick. And Step 3, showtime. Now that hunch has some weight to it. Every play, every game means something more. Because now, you're betting with the king of sportsbooks.
It is Super Bowl Sunday, and we have the answer to one of the most searched for questions of the day.
That question is, how do I stream the Super Bowl? It's easy. First step, just download the Paramount Plus app, which looks like this. Once you're logged in, look for the Chiefs-Niners match tile. Don't worry, it'll be front and center and look like this. Have a cable subscription? You can watch the Super Bowl that way as well by downloading the CBS Sports app and then clicking on the Super Bowl tile that looks like this. Enjoy the Super Bowl and stick around postgame for live extended coverage of the game on CBS Sports HQ. I remember we started the countdown at 100 days, and we are just about there, under an hour now from Super Bowl 58. The 49ers going for their first title since Steve Young in the 1994 season. Chiefs going for back-to-back titles. First team to do that since Tom Brady's 03-04 Patriots. There's Brock Purdy getting ready for his big moment. Mr. Irrelevant, taking the 49ers to the Super Bowl with back-to-back game-winning drives. Joe Montana, Steve Young, neither one of those guys did that multiple times in one postseason. Leger and Danny, you're back here. Leger's got some film breakdown. We saw last game what Brock Purdy did with those feet.
Yeah, Haas and DK, it's an underappreciated aspect of his game, and I've been saying it all year long. Right outside the red zone, Brock Purdy does a masterful job using his legs. DK and Haas not just run the ball and pick up first downs, but to buy time and throw the ball down the field. I know there's been a big fuss about him being a game manager, but we're going to break down some film and show you that he's so much more than a game manager on this film breakdown. Brock Purdy does a really good job, like I said, buying time right here. A staple in this offense, DK. You know, look at Deebo Samuel in the slot. They want to run this bootleg to the left, but the Detroit Lions are playing a cover 2 defense, which means that corner's in the flat, DK, so he can't go to Deebo right away. He looks him off, then he sees Kyle Juszczyk, but he gets some pressure, right? Watch the mobility of Brock Purdy. Sets, gets those feet again, resets, DK, finds Kyle Juszczyk down the field for 20-plus yards. This will be big for him in this game because with those pass catchers, you have to plaster. Watch the mobility of Brock Purdy. Right here, Brandon Ayuk, you get that pre-snap motion, cover 4 defense, 4 deep, 3 underneath. We know he kills teams in the middle of the field, DK. He wants Deebo Samuel on the slant. Doesn't like the look. That A-gap opens up. Watch the mobility he has and watch him take off. Now, if Deebo Samuel turns around and blocks, he may go into the end zone for a touchdown, but look at the grit and determination from to pick up a couple extra yards after contact. We're going to show you from the end zone copy just so you can see the eyes of Brock Purdy. He wants Deebo Samuel on this slant route, but it's covered. Doesn't like that. The pocket kind of collapses a little bit, but there's an A-gap open right here. Now watch the mobility and watch him scamper and get out of there. 20-plus yards and around the red zone, right outside the red zone, DK, that's when he's dangerous with his mobility. So Steve Spagnuolo is cognizant of this. He actually talked about this in his press conference, and the Kansas City Chiefs do play man, but you saw it right there. Even if you're in zone coverage and you're plastering your receiver, you better have your eyes back on Brock Purdy because he will take off and make explosive runs.
That's the evolution of the quarterback position. It's a requirement to be able to run the football now. You have to account for the quarterback, and if you forget about Brock Purdy and just treat him like he's a pocket passer, he will absolutely burn you. You have to be aware of where he is in the pocket. Those were exceptional breakdowns, and I think that is where he can do a lot of damage in this game potentially tonight. You know, it's also like if you try to go man coverage, you know, as a quarterback, once you see all those backs turn, those helmets turn around, they're running, he can absolutely hurt you in coverage, and that's the evolution of his game too. And that's where it does take you from game manager to all of a sudden playmaker, and that's where I think he's really started to, you know, cement himself and should be silencing any critic who says, oh, he's somebody who can't make plays when the play is broken down. He can absolutely do that.
To your point, in the NFC Championship game, when the Detroit Lions went man and they went one rat has, which means they have a free linebacker dropping over the middle, he understood right away it was man coverage on 3rd and 5 and took off for 20-plus yards. That led to a touchdown. They went up 10, and that's how they won the game. So you talked about it. His mobility will be a big aspect in this game.
48 rushing yards in that historic comeback against the Lions, and as Leger just pointed out, is not just the running for first downs that he does with his legs. He creates plays like Patrick Mahomes does and keeps that clock going for receivers and tight ends to get open. Speaking of tight ends, on the other side, Travis Kelce. How do you can't stop him, right? You can only hope to contain him. Try to contain him because coaches have been trying for years and years and years, and it rarely happens.
Haas, me and DK were talking about this earlier. We were baffled by the game plan of not only the Baltimore Ravens, but the Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills, to just allow Travis Kelce, the potentially greatest tight end that we've ever seen, free access. Like, you have to put hands on him now. The Baltimore Ravens made good adjustments in the second half. I'm going to break some film down to show you how you can kind of slow down Travis Kelce, right? right? Patrick Mahomes has struggled when teams have gone a little bit more man coverage. This is one rat coverage. You'll see Patrick Queen. He's the rat defender in the middle of the field. Watch what he does with Travis Kelce on this play. Travis Kelce wants to run his over route. Get you some. Now we got brackets coverage, right? You got a guy over the top and underneath. Brandon Stevens, the corner, has him in man coverage. Look at Patrick Mahomes. That's where he wants to go. He's comfortable with Travis Kelce in the middle of the field, but because they threw that timing off with Patrick Queen hitting him, good rush by Jadeveon Clowney. He has to throw the ball away, errant throw. You have to put hands on Travis Kelce every snap. Right here, the Ravens do a good job of disguising. Look at Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He goes to Creed Humphrey. They're trying to set the protection. DK, watch what they do with Broderick Washington, the defensive tackle. Patrick Queen's in the left A gap. Right before the snap, we're going to shift him over, right, to mess up their protection. Kyle Van Noy, he's going to take a cowboy step, which means he's going to fake rush and then drop over Travis Kelce. Now, Patrick Mahomes knows the pressure is coming, but he thought he had Travis Kelce. We're going to show you from the wide angle why this was a good job by the Ravens. Again, the Chiefs talk about the protection, right? They set the protection. Patrick Queen waits. After they set the protection, they move Broderick Washington over. He is unblocked because of a missed protection. Nice job by Kyle Van Noy selling the rush. Now you have a bracket coverage, guy with inside leverage and outside leverage. Errant throw by Patrick Mahomes. Again, if you don't put hands on him, you got to get two guys on him. You got to confuse the offensive line, but you should always put hands on Travis Kelce. Do not allow him free access into your secondary.
Great disguise there, and I think that's something you're going to see a lot of tonight too. That little subtle zone pressure, zone blitz, when you look like, because you're as a quarterback, you want to see that linebacker's coming. He has to sell it pretty hard. All he has to do is for 2 steps, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, I'm hot. I got to get this ball out of my hands. But then he starts dropping in coverage, and he's right underneath the player that you were probably trying to go to, because the tight end so many times is your quick outlet. You've got to try to do that, and I love the contact at the line of scrimmage. Even if it's coming from a linebacker coming up, it's got to come from somebody. Even put a wide 9, something out by him to make his release uncomfortable. For sure. You're not going to slow him. You're not going to stop him, but if you can slow him down, throw off that rhythm and timing, and at least get him to that kind of where they are playing playground, and then hopefully you can have like a little game. You're trying to race to get pressure on Mahomes where he can't improvise the way he does so well.
You guys are going to be a part of our post-game coverage here on CBS Sports HQ. Lige will always be also be here for halftime. You can also get instant reaction post-game from the Pick 6 podcast. They will be up right after the game with the latest episode. Up next, we ranked top dynasties all time, best tight ends all time. Got to do quarterbacks. Where does Patrick Mahomes already rank? That's next as we count down to the Super Bowl.
There are 2 ways this story can go. One with a line, and one with United's backdrop shortcut. I know which one I prefer. The one with the United app.
Brooks, during the President's Day sales event. From sea to shining sea, over the hills, across the plains, through the mountains, there's a new Jeep just right for you at Fair Oaks. Lease a new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 2-row Laredo 4x4. Just $379 a month. Hurry before this offer ends. Visit Fair Oaks Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today.
During football's biggest event, DoorDash will DoorDash stuff from all the ads, all to one winner. Just look for the promo code on the big day for a chance to win it all. DoorDashAllTheAds.com.
Now this is how you game day. There's Totino's in there, huh? Huh? It worked!
Do game day my way with Totino's Pizza Rolls.
Is she? Playing with the confidence of a pro and getting all up in that grass as if she doesn't have allergies. Yeah.
Nice.
We have a new home. What's next? We have a garage door that doesn't lift, and we have a gate that doesn't open.
So I went on Angie. It took me just a handful of minutes.
The vendors who came through Angie, you were more knowledgeable. They did higher quality work.
They wanted us to be happy with the work done as well.
We felt like we got the most value out of the contractor that we chose.
It is a beautiful garage, I will say.
Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Get started today at Angie.com.
Greetings happen.
Hi, cutie.
The best night of the week happens.
We are having taco night.
Dance parties happen.
Hey.
Yeah, that's not good happens.
Hey, put that down.
Big moments happen.
I got into UC Davis.
Home happens. Be there with Ring. Learn more at ring.com.
Let's begin, shall we?
This is Apple TV Plus, the streaming service with something for everyone.
Let's go!
New releases every week, the best movies, shows, and so much more. You can watch it on all the devices you already own.
Here we go.
Start streaming.
It's over! The Niners are going to Vegas!
You can doubt the Chiefs! You can dislike the Chiefs! You can disrespect the Chiefs! You're gonna have to deal with the Chiefs!
Inevitable or improbable, this town loves a winner. But a meeting in the middle of the desert ain't for the faint of heart.
Las Vegas! Nevada!
Many entertainers before have come to this place to put on a show. None as great as this. Super Bowl 58, a one-night-only affair with both legacy and dynasty for the taking. These architects of excellence, proof that Lady Luck has little to do with it. What's fueled you on this journey? The joy you once felt, or that very feeling that still eludes you? Remnants of the past lingering in the present, and the rare chance to right a wrong.
I will be back here, and I will be back with vengeance.
We got it! We got it, baby! We got it, baby!
Winning never gets old.
The Chiefs are champions of Super Bowl 57!
And the thirst for it only quenched in one way.
How about those Chiefs?
This an opportunity to define your forever.
San Francisco!
Because history is written by the victors, and they'll paint this town in only one shade of red. So leave nothing to chance, and give the kingdom of faithful exactly what they came for.
How bad do you want it?
Number 4, and then Peyton Manning with a couple of Super Bowl titles at 5. HQ, presented by Ring, Danny Cannell, and Lige Duzable. DK, how close will Mahomes get to surpassing Joe Montana on your list if he wins his 3rd ring tonight at the age of 28?
One Super Bowl closer to 4, where he's got to go.
Exactly.
I think he'll probably catch him, right? We were guessing how many more. I think we probably all think he'll get Joe Montana, or at least tie him. And I think this is one of those ones where you have to honor the resume. Before Tom Brady broke it, it, he was chasing Joe Montana, and that was the one. I think we kind of forgot that because we all want to have this debate about is Patrick Mahomes going to catch Tom Brady? We forget that we're just leapfrogging Joe Montana, who was one of the coolest cats out there to ever play the position, one of the best game managers we've ever seen, which I do think there's some similarities to Brock Purdy.
Did you call Montana a game manager?
I absolutely did, and the best compliment you could ever pay him because he was one of those innovators, played in that system and was really distributing the football same way that Brock Purdy does. But you talk about one of the coolest guys, ice in his veins in the biggest moments. He was absolutely there.
I liken it to when kids try to jump LeBron over Kobe when they're talking about Jordan. It just baffles me when Kobe has 5 rings. When you talk about Mahomes and where he could go, I'm with you, DK. I loved your list. Do you have some questions about the 4 and 5 spot? We can maybe
don't
talk
knock
about.
my guy, Dan.
Dan football-wise definitely deserves to be up there. But if Mahomes wins this one, I think he still has to get at least 4 to even be talked about with Joe Montana, just because of the dominance. And then we always talk about this with Jordan and LeBron, right? Jordan never lost in the finals. Montana never lost in the finals. Mahomes has lost in the finals. So I think you have to put that into perspective as well. So Mahomes wins this one. I think he still needs to win one more to even be talked about in the realm of Joe Montana.
Mahomes 2-1 in Super Bowls so far. If he loses tonight, that's 2-2 and a check against him, I guess. Look at the most Super Bowl wins. Brady at 7. There's Montana and Bradshaw at 4, and Troy Aikman with 3. Mahomes can join Aikman with his 3rd tonight. Lige, you said you had maybe a bit of an issue with 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3 is good, but 4 and 5. Who would you put in your top 5 at 4 and 5?
I think the ring matters, man. And now, is it all on the quarterback? No, but I think Peyton Manning winning 2, and a lot of people say he was more of a game manager in that second one because of the defense and the trips to the Super Bowl that he's actually had. I was surprised you don't have John Elway on that list, though.
If Dan Marino had Terrell Davis, he'd have 2 Super Bowls too. If he would have been gifted him the back end of his career, he would have had some too. And I love John Elway. I mean, I grew up watching him play as well. All these quarterbacks are phenomenal. I just look, and it's similar to the way Patrick Mahomes, like if people want to say he challenges Tom Brady and skips over Joe Montana, like watch him play. And you're like, oh, I get it. If you watch Marino play, you say, ridiculous. Oh, I get it. I think he was the best pure passer of the football that we've ever seen. And unfortunately did not have a great defense, did not have a great run game, and just how many times he put the team on his back and was doing things like he was throwing 48 touchdowns in the 80s. Like just lapping the field. And a lot of these guys put up a lot of stats, but he was doing it at a time where it really wasn't. You weren't seeing these pass happy offenses, and guys were getting jammed, and he was getting killed, within the pocket because he couldn't run that much. I just think when you watch Dan Marino play, you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Well, I've had this conversation with Pete Pisco because he kind of likens Dan Marino to Josh Allen. Do you think becomes a time and point where if Josh keeps putting up the accolades and numbers and yards that he puts up, that he's in this discussion even if he never wins a ring?
It could be. I still think Marino is a different style of quarterback, the play that was there, but there could be some similarities because Josh Allen, 3rd year in the lead, has all this success, starts chasing those MVPs, and then all of a sudden feels like it's underwhelming every year. I think a lot of Dolphins fans, myself included, when you saw him go to the Super Bowl in '84, you're like, oh, this is going to be every year. And then you don't ever even get back to one. So I think there could be some similarities to the career pass if Josh Allen doesn't get it done.
Yeah, Marino still the youngest quarterback to start a Super Bowl. It is time for Answering the Bell, presented by Ring, and Brock Purdy continues to do just that. Last couple of weeks, game-winning drives to bring the San Francisco 49ers back. That's something that Joe Montana never did. That's something Steve Young never did. 2 game-winning drives in the postseason. Maybe has to do that again tonight to get that ring. What would a win do for the narrative around Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy?
I think it would change the narrative, and to me it shouldn't, right? Because what he's accomplished being Mr. Irrelevant, I believe has in DK being Mr. Irrelevant and winning a Super Bowl. I think you have 1 in 24 million chances to do that. Like, that was the math on that. And
our research team put that together.
Exactly. The people are talking about him being a game manager. I just broke down the film that showed you he's so much more than a game manager. But this will be big for Brock Purdy, but I think it's bigger for Kyle Shanahan because we talked about this earlier, DK. He's kind of a disruptor when it comes to the NFL because if we look at Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, superstars, I think Brock Purdy could eventually be a superstar. He's not there yet, right? Shanahan's always won because of his system, and that's what everybody has said. Well, if he wins this, maybe it changes the mindset mindset of a lot of teams. Maybe we don't need a prototypical superstar quarterback. Yes, we would like to have one, but if we put the right pieces around the guy that we feel like can be efficient with the football, know where to go with the football, be mobile enough, we can win games. So, yes, this is big for Purdy, but I think it's bigger for Kyle Shanahan.
For Brock Purdy, I think it elevates him to a stratosphere where all of a sudden Paramount Plus could make a movie about his life. Like, there have been some great stories, right? Kurt Warner's bagging groceries, playing arena football, comes out. Tom Brady's 6th-round pick. You know, we've had so many stories that have these happy ending Hollywood-style finishes. If he wins the Super Bowl, that's what it becomes. It doesn't even matter what else he does. That'll be a fun conversation. And he'll clearly hope that it doesn't end with just one Super Bowl. But it is one of the best stories we've seen in the history of the NFL, to go from the last player selected to all of a sudden leading your team to a Super Bowl. It's been remarkable.
Well, you can watch the Super Bowl in just a few minutes over on CBS and also streaming live on Paramount Plus. And you can watch Super Bowls past where, well, Dan Marino only got there once. Joe Montana 4-0 in Super Bowls. Over on Pluto TV, they have exclusive Super Bowl classics streaming until February 21st. Relive 54 of the best Super Bowls and catch award-winning programs from NFL Films on Pluto TV. Well, we're only, 20 minutes away or so from Patrick Mahomes once again taking the field in the Super Bowl for the 4th time in 5 years. Chiefs in the midst of a dynasty, going for their 3rd title in 5 years.
Greetings happen.
Hi, cutie.
The best night of the week happens.
We are having taco night.
Dance parties happen.
Hey.
Yeah, that's not good happens.
Hey, put that down.
Big moments happen.
I got into UC Davis.
Home happens. Be there with Ring. Learn more at ring.com.
You've shopped the rest, now shop the best. Go to Jerry Chevy in Leesburg. For a limited time, take up to $6,700 off MSRP on the impressive 2023 Silverado 1500. Or get $2,500 off MSRP on the luxurious and feature-rich Chevy Traverse. Looking for a Chevy Tahoe? Go to Jerry Chevy. Want to sell your vehicle? Jerry's buys cars. It's less in Leesburg at Jerry Chevy.
It's Princess Jewelers store closing sale. Our entire inventory is being liquidated. Savings start at 50% off. You'll never see prices like this again on stunning diamond and gemstone jewelry. After 38 wonderful years of serving you, it's time to retire and close our Vienna store. Everything must go. Come take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Hurry into Princess Jewelers store closing sale in Vienna before our doors close forever.
Do anything. PetSmart carries Hill's Science Diet puppy food with the nutrients your pup needs and the prebiotic blend Active Biome Plus that supports healthy digestion. PetSmart. Anything for pets.
I said I'd never join.
Then I wouldn't get to work on one of these.
Never knew how strong I was.
I figured I'd never get out of my hometown. Or be the one who stops an attack. Joining the Navy sounds crazy. Saying never actually is.
Wanna leave works all day so I can keep working my magic. Just Wanna Leave. 12 hours of uninterrupted pain relief. Aleve. Who do you take it for? And for fast topical pain relief, try Aleve X.
Oh yeah, I know what it is.
He's a beast.
Whoa. My Geico documentary. It's car insurance, right?
A new documentary entirely about the Geico Gecko.
He could cover anything.
Renters, jewelry, pet insurance.
I mean, we're talking about a lizard.
The caveman strikes me as the kind of guy who lets fame get to his head.
But Gecko's the GOAT.
Geico. It's so easy, you know.
It is Super Bowl Sunday, and we have the answer to one of the most searched for questions of the day.
That question is, how do I stream the Super Bowl? It's easy. First step, just download the Paramount Plus app, which looks like this. Once you're logged in, look for the Chiefs-Niners match tile. Don't worry, it'll be front and center and look like this. Have a cable subscription? You can watch the Super Bowl that way as well by downloading the CBS Sports app and then clicking on the Super Bowl tile that looks like this. Enjoy the Super Bowl and stick around postgame for live extended coverage of the game on CBS Sports HQ.
Every Super Bowl has hype. And usually, the biggest event in television lives up to it all.
Away for a touchdown. How important is this football game?
What a play! Unbelievable! Holy catfish! I don't know how he did it. An amazing play!
What a finish to an unbelievable Super Bowl.
Now, on the doorstep of the big one, it's hard to imagine it leaving the audience with anything but a classic. You can take your pick of storylines, but how can we ignore the one right in front of us? On one hand, there's Brock Purdy, a 1 in 24 million story. Yep, we did the math. Is back in the city where he heard his name called last.
47th, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy.
Taking the NFL by storm.
He cannot be stopped!
He is amazing.
Then there's Patrick Mahomes, a one-of-one player on the verge of leading a team to back-to-back titles for the first time since 2004. One of the only ghosts he's chasing.
We ain't done yet.
He's on his way to becoming the best quarterback who's ever played.
Legacy-defining game for Patrick Mahomes.
And with Vegas as the backdrop for the first time ever, all bets are off. This surely will be one for the record books. Welcome to Super Bowl 58 on CBS.
Just minutes away now, Brock Purdy. Man, what must be going through his head? Mr. Irrelevant here a couple of years ago in Las Vegas, selected last in the draft, and now back here to try to win an improbable Super Bowl. James Brown with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo.
Well, you know what, Jim, as I welcome you and Tony here, I'm going back 200 years ago when we were auditioning, and Jim Nantz was clearly the star above all. So we'll be rocking and rolling here too now, Jim. We talked about the celebration ride. You and Tony have certainly been on this Kansas City Chiefs celebration ride.
Yeah, we've seen him a few times. I think it's 8 times this year. We've had a ball the whole season long.
Yeah.
And listen, there's nothing like getting a chance to be at the game like this. We both, Tony, this is his 3rd Super Bowl. It's a blessing, man. It's such a gift to be able to be in the arena for a day like this.
I agree that the arena is exactly what it's about, and these guys right here have done everything. I mean, this is your whole life for a lot of these guys, the biggest game they're ever going to play in, and you see it on their faces and their energy. They're ready to go today, and this is going to be a good football game, JB. Talk about what Las Vegas has been for you guys this week. I think about, again, you lending your celebrity for the cause of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. I said everything, but talk about you. Talk about what that was like. It was one of the most special nights of my life, receiving the Pat Summerall Award. You two are on the Mount Rushmore right there, and so it was an honor to just be associated with the great Pat and St. Jude. They are an incredible gift to everyone, and they help so many kids. It's one of the most special nights me and my family have ever had. Jim Nantz has seen everything. Jim, talk about how many people were excited and maybe wondering how Las Vegas was going to handle this. What's it been like?
It's been perfect. Obviously, the Super Bowl's coming back here about as soon as they can. Get one, another one. But I just want to say thank you for that opening prayer at the Summerall dinner for the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. What a meritorious honor we had. Sherry Summerall was there. And as I told her I would, when Pat passed away, she gave me his 20-year sobriety coin. And I love Pat. And that will reside right here. He called 16 of these games. Be right there inside by my heart. We both had the great pleasure of working with the man, and very special. Also, the other key for me this week was I got to begin my week with dinner on Monday night with You Are
looking live.
Our man, Brent Musburger, and I don't know if you got to see the special about Brent in the early years of the NFL today. You've honored him brilliantly for so many years, and you've hosted the Super Bowl, JB, more than anyone in the history of this game. Congratulations.
Well, the legend, JB, the
truly humble to say the least. Hey, clearly we have to get you guys. You know all the storylines down pat. There's been so much talk about the quarterbacks, but from your perspective, give me your thoughts about tonight's matchup. First, Tony.
It's an intriguing matchup on so many different levels. You've got maybe the two best tight ends in the National Football League, two of the best quarterbacks. One's really young, trying to make a name for himself, and this is that day. I tell people, Joe Montana, before 1981, he wasn't Joe Montana yet. But you go win that game today, like Montana did in 81, Purdy becomes a guy who can, not saying he's Montana, but he becomes Brock Purdy, and he's got a tall task in front of him going against the best in the game in Patrick Mahomes.
There's a million ways you can try to slice it up, but I'm going to say this. I'll go with the winner of 85 versus 87. Kittle, Kelce, that matchup is a sweet little X factor inside of this game. They both have the ability to just be the game breaker in this one, and I think they're both going to play great. We'll see which one has the better game. I think that'll lead us to the victor.
And as we always know, John Madden used to say it the best. All of the hype, pomp, and circumstance coming here, the game is still the thing, and we're hoping and praying for a good one.
I think it will be, and I really agree with Nance. I do think that Kittle has to have a huge game for them to win. Both these running backs, they're going to try and run the football. Kyle wants to get 25 to 30 touches for McCaffrey. If he does that, that's the one weakness in this great Chiefs defense is the guys inside, the tight end and the running back.
That was JB with the broadcast crew a few moments ago. The stadium now filled up. Kick is under 13 minutes away as we count down to the Super Bowl. We're almost there, but we still have time for some game picks and props with Ligier and DK. That's next on HQ.
to some updated headlines this Sunday. We'll start in the NBA. Miami Heat star Jimmy Butler is taking a leave of absence after the death of a family member, according to a statement from his agent on Sunday. It's unclear when he will return. After today's game versus the Celtics, the Heat have 2 more games this week until the All-Star break. Elsewhere, the Philadelphia Eagles have granted edge rusher Hassan Reddick permission to seek a trade. That's according to NFL Network. Reddick, who led Philly with 11 sacks this season, has 1 year left on the $45 million contract he signed back in 2022. Meanwhile, 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady set to become a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, according to the NFL Network. Brady's investment was altered to reflect the proper value of the Raiders. His group is expected to purchase around 10% of the franchise. And in soccer news, Real Madrid star Jude Bellingham will be sidelined for 3 weeks due to a high ankle sprain. The English international was injured Saturday in La Liga action. The club will have to be without their leading scorer when the round of 16 of the Champions League begins later this week against Red Bull Leipzig.
No, it's Vegas, so you know there's going to be even more stars out at the game. Usher at halftime, a lot of musical artists all over the place. LeBron is in the house. Taylor Swift, of course, right? With Ice Spice.
That might be the GOAT.
Taylor Swift, I know there's a prop. I think what's the over-under? 4.5 for times we see Taylor Swift during the broadcast. All right.
Over.
Lee J and Danny, and I agree with you there. We're just minutes away. They're blasting the broadcast audio across the street over at the Paris Hotel in Beer Park. It's weird because this place was so crowded all week long. Man. Now it's kind of quiet because everybody's inside or at the stadium getting ready to watch the game.
Yeah, I was just talking to Tracy about this, and I was like, yo, there's so much traffic walking over here to do this pregame show, and now the roads are empty. You can put F1 out here and they can go out in the race. Like, everybody is locked and loaded into this game. You can feel the energy. It's almost go time.
Yeah, it's starting to clear out. You can definitely get access anywhere you want now. It's supposed to gridlock out here on the Vegas Strip. But the energy, you can still sense it over the sports books and the bars across the street. It's phenomenal, man.
It's going to be wild once we go inside. And I think look, it's been crazy outside. Yeah. Inside is wild. I've been to Vegas several times on the Strip. This is just a new level, and it sounds like everyone involved in this thing wants to try to get this thing back as soon as possible. We heard Tony Romo and Jim Nantz saying that's probably going to happen. When this game kicks off, what's the one thing early in this game that you're most looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, I want to see how the Kansas City Chiefs come out. I talked about it earlier. I think this could be a game where it's not necessarily won by Patrick Mahomes' arm, but the physicality of the run game with Isaiah Pacheco. We've noticed the last few weeks this 49ers defense has struggled against the run, giving up over 5.5 yards per carry. I know, Andy Reid, you have Superman and Patrick Mahomes, but let him be Superman when you need him to do. Lean into the run game and that offensive line with Isaiah Pacheco.
I have my eyes on one player.
Who's it?
Brock Purdy.
Ooh.
We have to remember he's still just a second-year player. He was the 7th-round draft pick. This is such a big stage. We were talking earlier, the last time he was in a big game atmosphere, he was playing against the Ravens in December, late December. Man. 3 interceptions and first 4 drives. It's a big moment, right? I'm sure he can't even hardly talk because his mouth is dried up. I mean, he's not been in this position before. I think he can live up to it, but he's got to go do it. I think a strong start is crucial for him, or at least a start where he's not making those big mistakes like he did against the Ravens.
Danny, I know you didn't play in the Super Bowl, but you played in a ton of huge games throughout your college career at Florida State and then NFL career. When you are really nervous as a quarterback, what is something that you have to keep in mind when you go out there to play?
Just play within yourself. Yep. You know, just preparation to me was something I dealt with the nerves. If I was nervous, I'd just go start studying more playbook or start memorizing plays. But I think the most important thing, too, is you just got to get to the kickoff, right? And just get in the rhythm of the game. I always kind of liked getting hit early in the game. That was when I felt like it woke up. Okay, we're just playing football, and you go out there. So that, to me, is the crucial part for Brock Purdy. He seems like he's done a great job of compartmentalizing everything. I know he relies on his faith. He said he prays throughout the game. Yep. A lot of players have different things they like to rely on. Clearly, that's one for him. But you can On the surface, he may look calm, but that heart is going to be beating a million miles a minute, and there's going to be, all kind of butterflies in his stomach. I just want to see how he handles it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you have to be yourself, right? Don't try to live outside yourself. And yes, we know this isn't a traditional ordinary game. It's the Super Bowl. But when it gets kicked off, it's a regular football game, right? So you're always nervous. Once you get that, usually when you get that first hit, DK, that's when you come to and you're like, all right, I'm good. I'm comfortable. I got that first hit out the way. Let me lock into who I am. Let me go do what I do, right? Not try to do too much. We always hear coaches say, do your 1/11th. That's all Brock Purdy has to go do.
All right, this is it. Our final picks before the game with about 3 minutes to go until kickoff. Let's start with your top player prop, Lee J.
I'm going to go over 3.5 receptions for George Kittle. And then the crazy thing is, he has not hit this number in 10 of 11 playoff games. But the thing about it, this Kansas City Chiefs defense, if you look at how they've given up receptions to the tight end position, Dalton Kincaid had 5, right? 3 out of the last 4 games. No one single player besides Kincaid has had over 3.5 receptions, but the tight end group combined. We know George Kittle is the main tight end. They're not going to throw the ball to Charlie Warner in the passing game. I like George Kittle to go over 3.5 receiving receptions because they're going to try to run the ball, heavy play action pass, maybe get George Kittle on them crossing routes against some tight ends. I like for them to go to him early and often this game. So I like over 3.5 receptions for George Kittle.
I hate going over on props because that's what everybody wants to see, and usually it doesn't. But I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey over his receiving and rushing yardage total, 128.5. I think it's a huge game for him. We're going to talk a little bit later about who we like for MVP. But I think both, it's also if you do shut down the run, which is hard enough, I think Kyle Shanahan more than well aware you can get him in the screen game, you can get him in the play action pass coming out as an outlet for Brock Purdy. I think Christian McCaffrey's going to have a monster night.
All right, time for picks against the spread, and it appears as though it's going to kick off right where it opened at 2.5. There was some movement down to 1.5. Never really got higher than 2.5, and with a couple minutes to go, it's at 2.5. What's your pick?
Does that make you a little nervous now, DK, that it went up a little bit? Right? Bang, bang, Niner gang. Give me -2.5 with the San Francisco 49ers. If you look at what they've done the last 5 games away from home, 5-0 against the spread and straight up. We talked about it earlier, Has. I feel like this is a team of destiny, right? So many question marks about this team being front runners. Could they play from behind? Well, they showed you they can handle adversity versus the Green Bay Packers in a divisional round. They showed you they could be down by double digits versus the Detroit Lions and come back and win. I feel like this is a team of destiny. Yes, it's hard to go against Patrick Mahomes, but I like the 49ers to win. Again, one more caveat. We talked about this earlier this week, DK. In CBS Super Bowls, the 49ers are 2-1. The Kansas City Chiefs are 1-2. Patrick Mahomes' last loss in the Super Bowl was a CBS game.
You know how all these beautiful buildings were built, right?
Yep.
Because the public money is usually wrong. Everyone is backing the Chiefs. I've liked the 49ers, since the line came out. Was always like, man, I could flip-flop, but I have almost more confirmation that the 49ers are going to win because over 60% of the bets are on the Chiefs. I do like the 49ers. I think they're the better team. I think they've got more weapons on offense, and I think their defense finally steps up and slows down Patrick Mahomes enough to win the game.
25th anniversary of Kyle Shanahan's dad going back-to-back with the Denver Broncos.
Flyover.
That first of 2 Super Bowl wins was the last time we saw a running back win Super Bowl MVP. Terrell Davis in the 1997 season. That's the last running back to do it. Who are your MVP picks tonight?
I think the streak ends, Has. I picked the 49ers to win. I think this will be a Christian McCaffrey game. We know Kyle Shanahan has been under scrutiny for the 28-3 lapse when he was offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons versus the Patriots. We know 4 years ago versus this Chiefs team, being up double digits, people wonder, why did he not run the ball more late in that fourth quarter in the second half? I think he comes out and tries to establish the run. And DK, you said it perfectly. And even when Christian McCaffrey isn't getting the ball the traditional way, they will split him out and put Deebo Samuel in the background. Angle routes versus linebackers. I believe Christian McCaffrey gets upwards of 25, 35 touches between the run and the catch. Christian McCaffrey will be MVP.
I got 8 seconds. I'm going 49ers. I'm going Christian McCaffrey, too. I think he has a monster game.
A little distracted. There's a guy with like a falcon over there. The falcon came over here, landed on the roof.
For the national anthem, he was going around.
Well, no. So the Falcon, I learned this. The Falcon, because we have the drone, they try to keep him away, keep the birds away. That's what the Falcon does.
Oh, okay, nice. Drone. All right. Falcons not playing in this Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan trying to exercise some of those Falcons' demons from that 25-point blown lead when he was offensive coordinator. We have halftime from here. Ligier and Todd Furman picks, and then highlights and reaction after the game. Joe Musso will anchor our coverage. Best of luck Enjoy Super Bowl 58. We have certainly enjoyed our week here. We hope you enjoyed the coverage as well from the fountains at the Bellagio. 49ers going for their first title in almost 30 years. Chiefs looking to go back-to-back for the first time since the Patriots did it in 03 and 04. So long, everybody. We'll see you at halftime.
Caitlin Clark chasing history, 39 points away from passing Kelce Plum to become the all-time scoring leader in Division I women's college basketball. Clark and the Hawkeyes on the road at Nebraska, averaging 35 points per game in her career against the Cornhuskers. She scored 39 more points 3 times this season. More than 15,000 in attendance in Lincoln to potentially watch history. Caitlin Clark for 3. First 3 points of the game, 36 points away.